You know, despite always having my stuff on the same thing, OBS still loves to drop the selection I have. So thank you. Bless. I've been talking to myself. I gave a recap and nobody got to hear the recap. So, you know, I'll just explode. That's okay. Anyway, we got told to adopt our dead friend's child and then also argue against him committing suicide. Now that I'm unmuted, how is everybody? Keep in mind, I didn't touch anything on OBS. It just does that sometimes, and I didn't remember to do that. Okay. Alright. And who would you even have called? I don't know. They still should have got my phone call. Instead, I got you. Who are you again? My latest guardian? New foster pet? Why? Okay. Morgan, why do you have two children? Why do you have two children? Kinda looks like, I don't know if that's supposed to look like a devil horn or, like a cat ear. Want me to call you mommy? No. I'm not really the motherly type. Heyo, we might actually get along. So I've got good news and bad news. I'm not your guardian, I'm your lawyer. You've been given a lawyer because you're being charged with a felony. Precious pigs, skipping school's a felony now? Hacking into a government database has been a felony for a very long time. That wasn't me. You have your keystrokes, your IP address, your login times, and the playlist you were listening to. That was for a homework assignment. Hi, Zeno. Hello. Hello. Welcome in. How are you doing if you're sticking around? Here's what I don't get. You got in, copied the data, could have gotten right out, so you wouldn't even know they'd been robbed until they saw their password show up on black market clearance 2 weeks later. But you didn't get out. You stayed and made changes to their database. Yippee! I'm glad to hear that you're well. You robbed the bank, got clean money, then dragged a can of spray paint behind you all the way home. Why? Look, I didn't steal anything. I wasn't already compromised. And the only data I edited was my own. So if anything, they should be thanking me for correcting their mistakes. What, did they get your birthday wrong? My name. Name changes are only 2 pages of paper. Transgender! Sorry. You just need to fill out the form. And get a signature from a parent or guardian. So, what's the good news then? The good news was that I'm your lawyer, not your guardian. The hell? That doesn't count as good news, that's just a thing you said. Don't be so sure, a lawyer's a lot better than a guardian. How's that? Parents, guardians, foster, whatever, they're all supposed to take care of you because it's the right thing to do. A lawyer is someone who always does what's best for you no matter what, because that's how they get paid. Yippee! I can't believe that Morgan's getting 2 children. Responsible for 2 children now. I don't think that she should be responsible of 1. How did we end up here? The squint. So how good are you at your job? So that's how they met. This is the... I'm not gonna lie. This is the character I may or may not have compared to Patch Zeno. Just a tad. Not in actuality. I just thought it would be funny. From the episode 1 and the screenshots of them fucking off from parole. Hello, Monka. It's pronounced, I don't know how to pronounce that. Thank you. I know how it's pronounced. And don't call me that. When I met Fran in that police station, I couldn't help but bet I'd landed the jackpot. A valuable asset with a skill set complementary to my own personal and private pursuits. Someone who, after seeing the sweetheart probation deal I managed to land for them, would be more than happy to help me with whatever I need, whenever I need it. Always so cold, Fran. Can't I even get a good morning? I love opening the profile immediately. Student hacker, but don't put that down, obviously. Values, purity, originality, history, vibes. Beautiful. Yeah. Wait, what got added to... Oh. Yeah, no, that's what I figured. No such thing. Nothing's good ever happened until the afternoon when people are actually awake. What I got instead was a compulsive liar with a horrific sleep schedule and a crippling addiction to poor time management. Cheers. I don't know what you expected from the hacker teenager, but hats off to you, Morgan. What do you want, Red? I can't call you up just for fun? Not if you don't want to get blocked. I need you to find somebody for me. Can't do it. I've got homework. We both know the only time you ever do your own homework is during the class it's due. And I've got sports. You can't tell a basketball from a hockey stick. And I've got a bidding war to win. You're the only person on Earth bidding on 70-year-old Coochie. That's the only way you can fuck. Am I crazy? I don't know how. I'm just gonna pronounce it as Gucci. I'm not calling it that. And Air Joe Vintage Reps, Fran. You know, love this for Fran. Vintage tastes in 2086. I think you can take your eyes off the auction block. So yeah, so sorry, but I'm busy, so... I was hoping we could skip straight to the carrot portion of the routine, but if you insist on doing things from the top... Huh? I had an interesting conversation with your parole officer yesterday. Oh yeah? They've been really into the self prefixes lately. What? Self-motivation, self-actualization, self-help. Oh. And he thinks you could really benefit from it. You're lying. He's got all the workbooks ready. Yeah. Clearly your Saturdays are stacked, so I'll make sure your Sundays are full of... Fine, I get it. I need you to find a local musician. Musician? I knew this will be electro swing. Be kind to electro swing? What the fuck? Bran, what the hell? Or some other awful... Last name Powell or Parker. And that's all you got? They'll be in David Assure's circles. Wait, Assure? You're working that? That should be more than enough for a clever kid like yourself to go on. Don't go expecting any miracles. I need this soon. Within the hour, ideally. Within the... You know I have other clients, don't you? Other clients who actually pay you? On time? A musician. Find him. Okay. Cheers. If you pay people on time, it turns out you go to the front of the line. Blessed. You've been talking over the phone. You're very animated, Adonai. What do you mean? Just that you're very expressive when you talk to people. Of course I'm expressive. If I wasn't, how would anyone know what I'm thinking? I see. I'll keep that in mind as we... Wait, you really expect to tag along? Of course, Father was. Yeah, I know you want to, but why should I let you? Because I am capable and helpful. Uh-huh. I mean it. I can take notes for you. And move heavy objects. And I'll learn to do more. How? I will subject every individual we encounter to a basic survey. To Sarah, bless. To procure biographical information on them while I gain experience in questioning. Subjecting them to torture. I can help, Adonai. How fast can you fill out forms? Fast. Congratulations, you're halfway to being a paralegal. You coming? Right away, Adonai. We have a paralegal! Yay! Almost. We have half a paralegal! Yay! The good thing about doing visual novels is that I can just sit and have my hand on one of my hands on the keyboard and press enter, and that's it. Pretty quiet elevators, huh? Oh, beautiful. That's it. Bless. You could have taken the next one. It's busy building. Detective can't hold up everyone else on our account. Anything you'd like to grumble at me before I start? Don't touch anything. I don't care that you're wearing gloves. I have been to crime scenes before, you know. Long before the police get there in many cases. Look, Rockford asked me to not get in your way, but that doesn't mean I'm going to bend over for you. Do you at least have the autopsy report? No. You seriously? I don't. She doesn't? The report should have come in hours ago. It wouldn't take this long unless the cause of death was still... Then I'd settle for a summary of the preliminary findings. An emergency call was made shortly after 8 p.m. last night via the home's security system. Emergency medical services had a VTOL in the air within a minute. They landed on the penthouse's helipad at 8:08. 8:08, nice. Dr. Ashura was found unconscious with low blood pressure and a weak heartbeat. He wasn't breathing. In-flight auto triage administered artificial CPR while in transit to Gatesfield Memorial. He was declared dead a few minutes after being taken to the emergency wing. I see. And the cause of death is? Being investigated. Make an educated guess. He stopped breathing, so they gave him oxygen. His heart stopped pumping, so they had the machines take over. His brain activity dropped to 0, and there wasn't anything else they could do. It was poison, wasn't it? What kind? You don't know, do you? They don't know either. Like I said, ma'am, we don't have the autopsy report yet. Why are you certain it was poison, Adonai? Couldn't it have been an accidental overdose? If he had overdosed on a commercial drug, even a pre-med student would have spotted it on the hospital's intake screening. They would have been able to pump his stomach, neutralize the bloodstream, and he would have lived. But he didn't live. So it must have been something deadly. The compound decides solely to kill. A fast-acting, deadly poison that causes respiratory failure. That list can't be that long. Even just through process of elimination, the medical examiner should have identified it by now, unless... You suspect a designer drug, don't you, detective? Why is it that you're only quick on the uptake when it suits you? Nothing else makes sense given what we know and what we don't. But the CDCA decriminalized and cataloged all recreational drugs. Guess you aren't entirely clueless about politics. Let me see, what is this? Oh, Contraband Decriminalization Act 2060s decriminalized all narcotic use and made a bureau for it for distribution and taxation. Reduces the criminal cases and gives tax income, and then comparable. Okay. Fucking up drug trafficking things. Grey Wave followed suit after. Criminal organizations waged war. Okay. And fierce competition. Classic narcotics. Made designer drugs to monopolize things. Rates of addiction have dropped. Dangers associated with untested designer drugs and drug distributors. Eagerness to earn new customers. Okay. Interesting. I mean, decriminalization is pretty nice. What was added here? Unemployed to paralegal. That's beautiful. Okay. So whatever father overdosed on should have been in the hospital's database. You need to update your definitions. You're confusing designer drugs with recreational drugs. What is the difference? Recreational drugs are decriminalized and sold through pharmacies after years of testing and mountains of paperwork, while the average designer drug was invented last week in a 19-year-old line cook's bathroom on the other side of the globe. Hospitals can't know the proper countermeasures for an overdose of a drug that didn't exist 48 hours ago. I came across makeshift labs all the time when I was in uniform. The equipment's cheap and widely available. Black market cooks, gray market peddlers, and white-collar lobbyists, all chasing each other's tails in a long line to find the next big hit. CDC didn't change shit. More people die from ODs than ever before. Only difference is, it's their families finding them in the living room and not beat cops finding them on street corners. Feel comforting, I'm sure. If it wasn't you talking, I'd say that was a criticism of law enforcement. Not law enforcement, just the law. Assuming it was a designer drug, that would certainly make things more complicated. For the insurance guys, maybe. For us, whatever he used to do it, he still killed himself. Or didn't kill himself, if you exist. I'm going to take a look around now. Yeah, sure, make yourself at home. What's that face for? I thought there would be an outline. An outline? Around where they found father. Like in the movies? Like in film. Connect to the police's network and bring up their ARCS file. Augmented reality crime scene. I see. Whee! Let's go into the crime scene matrix. Okay. I see. There is an outline, and so this is where he died at the hospital. This is just where the medics found him. And it's the sensors and cameras they were wearing that create the basis for this ARCS? They didn't realize they were walking into a crime scene, but their body cams gathered data all the same. Where do we start? You can start by following behind me and trying to be as quiet as possible. Be kind, Morgan. I'm starting to get a feel for when she's pouting even without looking. Yeah, this is your, what would it be? This is your niece. Okay, so we got this here, we got this here. Got that. Got outside. We got this. This is the closest. We start with this. What is this? A chessboard and a data pad with a series of characters on it. E4, C5, NF3, E6. What? E4, C5, NF3, E6, D4, CX, D4, NX, D4. I don't know enough about chess movements to know what the hell any of this means. If I'm being so for real. PX, D4, NX, D... What is that? Okay. This is... Fuck if I know! Morgan, please be so for real with me right now, because I don't fucking know this. It would have to be a cipher, because I think that there is in... this is me not knowing anything about chess, but I'm pretty sure the N isn't in that notation. Am I crazy? I don't think it would be a cipher, right? I want to be right. I love being right. Help me. Not actually help me. Let's see. E4, C5, NF3, E6, D4. What does this mean? I feel like this is most likely a message, right? Some kind of secret message perhaps, or? Black has checkmate in 40 moves.
Wow, a robot that's good at chess! We ought to put you in a museum. But I'll take your word for it. What do you mean? Do you not play Adonai? No, especially not against David. Well, that is to be expected. Anyone who challenged Father to a battle of wits would naturally grow tired of losing. Every game starts the same. Each player has the same pieces, the same moves, the same options. True test of wit, strategy, and forethought. To me, it always seemed too boring. Too fair. The smarter player wins every time. And that is something you take fault with. Of course. How is a guy like me supposed to win like game like that? I didn't fucking win. Speaking of winning, I know that I don't. Hold on. Hold on, let's just go ahead and give you a gift. Thank you for having the quickest skip button in the West. Yep. Let me actually save here. Let me be... Okay. Because I want to know what this is. Is this actually a normal game? It is a normal game. Really? I didn't think... Hold on. Now I need to... I don't know enough about chess. I should have just assumed. Piece symbols. Figure. Okay, it is algebraic notation, but because of the fact that some of them didn't have it in front. Huh. Okay. 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 That was silly of me. Okay, let's look outside. I always admired this view. The buildings gleam with reflections of holograms and sunlight, and their shadows obscure all the rundown, rotting parts of town. Maybe the view is secondary. Maybe all anyone really wants is to put as much distance between them and the street level as possible. Is it possible that a witness could have seen something through these windows? Not through these windows, no. David installed wide spectrum auto tint in all his homes, all his cars. I didn't know that. Well, you wouldn't notice unless you were viewing the penthouse for more than... Why did he care so much about his windows? Police androids monitoring the scene. Could almost mistake them for the real thing, the way they just stand there trying to look important. Like an indoor dog taking its first trip to the park. Pardon? Why are you looking at it like you've never seen an android before? Because I haven't. In person. David didn't even let you have a mirror? Brutal. Just scanned its GIN if you're that curious. Unless that's considered too forward or whatever. Be kind. Be kind. That's your very sheltered niece. One chair knocked over, probably where David was sitting. And one chair pulled out, a party of two. He never cared much for socializing, but he enjoyed hosting. Contradictory guy. Okay. Better take a closer look. Okay, we got datapad. Let's do the datapad first. Password locked, but already cracked by the police, it seems. All the docs were take home safe, nothing spicy. When was it last used? 7:48 p.m. Still reading work emails only a few minutes before he committed suicide? Morbid. There's a lot of messages marked priority that breadcrumb their way back to. An article. Oh, it's this one. It's a warm android thing. Yep, I remember this. This is that article I've seen going around. But why would Noble have it marked as priority? Starling said they weren't in any rush to pat each other on the back over it, even though they'd won themselves a real prize. I feel like easy PR is less
likely the military contract. They now have the excuse they need to pressure the military into a contract for warm androids. Can't dismiss the expensive upgrade as unnecessary now that it's saved a soldier's life. This time next year, there will be pink oxidizing fluid being spilled all over the globe. Okay. Let's check the Rose River Whiskey, 12 years old. You recognize it? Sure, he was more than partial to the brand. It's a good brand, only a bit overpriced, which is the bargain of a lifetime in David's world. It appears that the police have already tested its contents. No foreign matter present, was their conclusion. Is it possible that the police missed the poison? No, even if they can't identify the poison, they can detect its presence by comparing samples of the whiskey to a bottle off the store shelf. So we can eliminate the possibility that the bottle of whiskey was poisoned. So true. Good job, Sarah. We'll have to find our smoking gun elsewhere. Is that blood? Yeah, that's blood, isn't it? There's this one. 2 cups, one empty, knocked over, and one mostly empty. These look cheap. Did his guest bring them? I've seen them before, in the basement liquor cabinet. He kept these lying around? I knew he regifted those crystal glasses I got him. Ark says that there is nothing forward in the upright one, so it can't have been poisoned. Results are inconclusive on the other cup, however. Oh wait, no, that's not. Looks bone dry. Must have been nothing but fumes left by the time this was considered a crime scene. Just not enough there for them to test. Inconclusive could mean... Inconclusive means inconclusive. That's all. Cheer up and read me the results of the fingerprint down. Father's prints are on both cups, as expected. But there are someone else's on the upright cup, so someone else must have been with him last night. Slow down. All that proves is that someone else touched the cup. Doesn't tell us when they did it. And since we don't know who the prints belong to... Adonai, why don't we know who the prints belong to? Are the prints flagged as unidentified, or...? No. There's space for a name, but the field is black. Shit, am I already that late to the action? Detective Reyes. Yeah. There's a second set of prints on the cups. Is there a form you'd like me to sign? Doesn't matter how nicely you ask. Sometimes people just can't answer. You should know that damn well, Madam Counselor. I was afraid you'd say that. I don't understand, Adonai. What does this mean? It means that whomever those prints belong to has very proactive representation. Those prints belong to a witness, as you've guessed. You're more than welcome to their testimony, but their identity is... The department is being very considerate of the witness's privacy, out of respect for their time and appreciation for their cooperation. I love corporate cover-ups. Fine, forget the name. That easily? Subpoenas are always an option, but I'm short on time. What did the witness have to say for themselves, Detective? To paraphrase, they came to see Dr. Asher last night. The two of them talked and they had a drink together. Then the doctor got sick, so they activated the emergency system from the panel in the kitchen. The EMTs came and took them both to the hospital. Asher's condition got worse. All the witness's vitals were normal. The witness had their vitals taken? Then there should be a record of their admission at Gatesfield. And that's it. I'm guessing you didn't just take all of that on faith. Penumbra's set up in most of the rooms on this floor. Everything the witness told us was corroborated by the building's own surveillance system. So yes, we can guarantee that the witness never put anything into Asher's drink. I'm guessing that I can't have the keys to the penumbra, can I? Not until the witness's lawyers are done reviewing it. Lawyers? Plural? I don't have time to trade jabs with the law offices of Johnson, 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 and Johnson. Say, how about I give you their business card? The law offices of Kochler, Gustav, Prince, and Prince. I was close. No way I'll be getting any client information out of them directly. If all you bloodsuckers want to get together and tear each other apart, text me before you start. I'd like to watch. Yeah, I bet you like to watch. What? What does that even mean? I don't know. Needed a moment to think. So that was it? One chat, one peek at the cams, and you've already eliminated them as a suspect?
Look, they were searched. They didn't have any poison, any drugs, not even a stick of gum. Even if they somehow did have poison on them, the camera footage confirms they had no opportunity to use it. They drank from the same bottle as a dead man. As far as the department's concerned, they were nearly the second victim.
But they aren't dead, or even ill from the sound of things. So you think he poisoned his own cup beforehand, and then poured for the both of them from a safe bottle?
That's what the evidence is telling us. There's nothing in the bottom. There's nothing in the bottle or the witness's cup.
You know, this conclusion of events is kind of hilarious to me, because that does mean that David did just try to decide to, like, kill himself in front of this person, changing the course of their life forever.
But after drinking from his cup, a cup he prepared himself, he fell ill and the witness didn't. And Ashur died with a foreign substance in his body. An unidentified foreign substance. Suicide by poison. I get that you were close and simple explanations aren't all that satisfying, but that's life.
One last thing. You just said he prepared his cup himself. Did you see that on camera?
He left the parlor to get the drinks and came back with his already poured. The witness says he got them from the basement.
The witness says that, not the cameras.
There's no cams in the lab or the basement. That seems like a security hazard. Why would Noble not set up things up more carefully? It's intentional. If cams of his lab ever got hacked, outsiders could steal his IP and kick Noble's monopoly to the curb.
Right. David did complain about Noble's weird protocols for combating corporate espionage.
At least we can take comfort in knowing that Father wasn't alone when he died.
Yeah, that's worth investigating. That's all very interesting. Hold up. Can I... Okay, let's finish going through this. Spilled alcohol. The arc shows how it looked last night before it evaporated. No foreign substances in the puddle. It's clean. So does that mean wherever the spill came from must be clean as well? Odd. Right. Well, is there anything else before I check this? Don't see anything. So, says here that when the medics arrived, he was on the floor, face up.
Does that tell you something?
I don't... Oh my god, I'm not sure what voice I should be giving Sarah. Not gonna lie. Hey, if you were going to drink a glass of poison, would you be sitting or standing when you did it?
I find it very difficult to speculate on that hypothetical scenario.
The seat by his body is pulled out. If he was seated when he lost consciousness, I would expect him to find him slumped over on the table.
But he wasn't found slumped over.
No, he wasn't. And if he had been standing when he lost consciousness, I would think he would have fallen forward, or at least collapsed less neatly.
So what can you conclude from that, Adonai?
Only that I'm missing something. Seems like that's everything critical on this side of the room. And she leaves the kitchen. You said there's camera footage of the dining room showing David and his guest. What about in here?
Only camera in the kitchen is the one mounted on the call terminal. The console took a snap image when the witness ran in to contact emergency services.
May I see it?
Not unless you scrape the witness's face off the pic first.
Don't tempt me.
I wanna!
Okay. Inspect. 3 unwashed dishes and a single glass. Whereas these dishes haven't been scanned for prints yet.
And
I just assumed you might want to do your job.
Yeah, there are prints, most match the victim. But there's also, Hey! Don't sneak up on me like that!
All I did was walk over to you.
You knocked over the salt, Adonai. I was focused on the task at hand.
Didn't realize tunnel vision was a selling point on your mod.
Adonai, the salt. As I was saying, the witnesses' prints are on that glass.
That glass in the sink? They were drinking from cups in the parlor. Did you see a glass on camera?
No.
So when did they touch this glass?
You need to toss it over your shoulder.
Witness must have thought about giving the guy some water, but he would have just choked on it if they had tried. What, you think this glass was the murder weapon? It's bad luck, Adonai. Whacked him on the back of his head so fast it went in between video frames. The spilled salt. That's genius. You should go through the footage frame by frame to prove your theory. Mature. It's bad luck. What have you been going on about? The salt? Shouldn't a machine but be above petty superstition? It's not a superstition, it's an ancient wisdom. Give me one logical reason to care then. If too much salt spills onto your food, it'll make you gag. Maybe it's on me for setting the bar too low there. I feel like the salt being spilled is kind of, either it's to show the character point or to show, that we fucked up the crime scene just a little bit. Messy workspaces, but a pristine kitchen. David was a good cook, but only for others. Unless he had a guest, he'd happily eat instant ramen and protein bars for all 3 meals, or 2, or 1. No sides of food prep to be found, not so much as a cheese board. So whoever this guest was, they must have shown up unannounced. Then why do you do the solo cups? Let's examine door first, and then we do the emergency thing. David's fridge. Normally I wouldn't go poking in the pantry at a crime scene, but this was a poisoning. Some white wines chilling in the drawer, some real cheap liquor stuffed in the... Okay, David, bro. Why do you have this much alcohol? He's got so much. He's got the entirety in his basement, and then he's got all of this up here. Brother, there's no way you're drinking all of this. I know you collect, but like the wine, there's the wine collection and there's a billion other things. Old habits. Reyes, you said he left the parlor and came back with that whiskey from the basement? Huh? That's what the cam show, yeah. There's plenty to drink right here, and unlike the cabinet downstairs, it's actually cold. You must have wanted Rose River in particular. What's that look for? You hungry? I am an android. I do not get hungry. Are you being sarcastic? Oh, are you being sarcastic? Only mostly. I thought that you said you required organic nourishment. I do ingest organic substances, but that doesn't mean that I experience hunger as you do. So when you don't ingest organic substances for a long time, I become tired. What a great feature. And when I'm done digesting, I don't need to know. Okay. Step stool. I had the vision of it being for the counter and not... Wait, hold up. If those are up there, this isn't about the crime itself, besides maybe a crime against, like, design. These are, like, lined to the back of here, right? So this is a low-ass counter. You step up here, and you have to reach up and grab that. And you kind of just have to lean over this entire counter to grab... Okay. That's a tall... Okay, anyway. Nothing. This is where the emergency call was made. What time did the call go out? 8:04 p.m. Before you ask, the witness left the parlor at 8:03. Not enough time for them to alter the scene. I wasn't going to ask that. When did the medics arrive? 8:08 p.m., remember? Hell of a response time for a penthouse. Private EMS came by air. Yeah, they landed on the VTOL pad you saw outside. Took him to Gatesfield. Very best if you can afford it. Looking around here seems like he could afford a lot. He got his insurance through his employer, just like most people. Caduceus' executive plan for isn't like most people, counselor. He had executive level? Not like most people at all. You've now had the chance to survey the crime scene. Yeah. So, do you think you know what happened? Detective, is his body still at the hospital morgue? Yeah, he's at Gatesfield, along with a half-hundred noble Megs, who've all called dibs. Then I'll just have to cut in line. Sarah, give me a ride to Gatesfield Memorial. What? You can do that, can't you?
I can. But I need your payment information to get started. Yeah, okay. Understood. On my way down. Got it? Sync complete. Set pickup for 10 minutes should be plenty. The crowd down there seems to have gotten quite large. 10 minutes to reach the pickup spot may be an ambitious target, Adonai. How bad can it be? We're fucked. We're fucked. As they approach the lobby's exit, the building's soundproofing begins to fit. Oh god. We're fucked. The crowd has gotten bigger, but there's something else happening out there. I feel bad whenever I'm late to pickups. No! They can't do this. The energy's not panicked yet, but it's creeping up on the tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling Android? The hell's got them so excited? Adonai, what's that symbol mean? In this rabble, probably something vulgar. Which one? That heart with a bullet hole. What? I don't know. It's probably nothing. Based on net associations, it appears to be a symbol for the Heartbreak Killer. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would that freak have a symbol or a following? Whatever these people are. And why the hell would they be outside David Assure's apartment? Noble's trying to cover up the truth. They are. Those bags up there are scribbling to shred every document they can. We need to stick together, form a perimeter, and try to catch them when they go dump the scraps. Okay, man. Sarah, what are you hoping to find? Proof that Assure was killed for trying to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle on Heartbreak? Noble doesn't know what the world to know that the A16 is sentient and homicide. Oh. You think that Heartbreak is an android? You think whoever did all that was human? Well, you see, I know. Noble's advanced prototype went amok and started killing. Random people. Don't be a lamb, it only looks random. There's a clear pattern as long as you're smart enough to see past the bullshit. Oh, okay. And how does one see past the bullshit? Stop engaging. Smart kid, she gets it. She's asking the right questions. What the hell are you talking about? No way those victims weren't related. It's gotta be deniable ops. They all must have been in DO together before getting their records bleached. Then as soon as they've outlived their usefulness... What are you, nuts? Everyone knows the first 6 HK got to were the 6 prototypes that came before him. This is a hell of a conspiracy theory. Warm android's so perfect no one could tell the diff. A bullet to the heart's the only way he could kill those other over-engineered freaks. Everyone's got a goddamn opinion. I see. Stop singing, start moving. These people are insane. I don't need some more corn slab asshole. You think you can be the cyberpunk without ever thinking for yourself? You think it's coincidence victim number 6 was working on Harco crops? Putting something in the food. Those people, Heartbreak. This is a goddamn embarrassment. The hell am I paying taxes for if the state can't shut this shit down? What about you, Adonai? What do you think about this Heartbreak figure? They're just a murderer. Should be caught and sentenced, like any other murderer. But they must have some reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious? Why? Are some reasons for committing murder better than others? They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have... Millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions. And yet there's only one Heartbreak. So you think they were just born that way? That's my guess. That's unsatisfying. Sad. I don't see why it would be. If Heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else. Bro, help me. Oh my god. If Heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people would ever have to worry about turning out like them. That kind of predestination, it means they never have to take responsibility for what they are. The state can make them take responsibility as soon as they catch them. You make it sound so trivial. They're a very dangerous serial killer. Just a serial killer. Just? If HK shot someone every day, it would take them 1,132 years and about 11 months.
In order to have killed 413,789 people. You did that in your head? I'm good at mental math. You counted the leap years. But what is the significance of that number? Deaths within 18 months of the Blakefort industrial disaster. Times that number by 2 for the injuries. Tack on another 183 for the birthday time. Okay, we need to back up really quick. We need to go find. Okay, first off, what was changed here? Collarbones? Okay. Do not have collarbones, Sarah. What was changed here? I should have. Fran. I'm not gonna lie. I've missed on what in the world has happened. Huh. Oh wait, no, this is from earlier. This is from earlier. Okay. Articles. We got that already. Terms. So let's see. I know what a subpoena is. Yep. Giving testimony. Designer drug. Yep, custom made. CDCA. It's all of those, and then there's like this nerve legal yet. Beautiful. Riding the wave. International mob chemists against corporate laboratories. Okay, interesting. Deniable ops. Deniable is a fictional classification for clandestine state actions that need not be taken responsibility for because plausible deniability and military disinformation efforts create enough confusion that every party involved, even the victims, can spin the outcome to suit their own needs. No such designation exists. Okay, wait. Online conspiracy theories. Why explosive events are never reported on. For military. Okay. Indoctrinated or blah blah blah. Okay. Okay. Cyberpunk. That it's now counterculture. Yep. Genre has persisted in modern times. It's now a new meaning. Code of conduct that emphasizes okay. So-called singular cyberpunk is the 21st. Okay. Man without a name, wanderer with their own rule of law. No such thing as a 21st century hero. Okay. Get ready with me, cyberpunk. That's beautiful. Yep. CCA, got that. Blakefort disaster. Damn it. Variable user country and combating disinformation by foreign actors like those in user adversary latest. Beautiful. Fuck. Okay, well, I guess we don't get to know that. Let me see. Plastic cup does not have anything in it. Emergency console. Private emergency services. Executive for insurance plan. What is this? Oh my god, that is a long ass scroll. Thank you, thank you. I'm not reading all that. Do you think that they actually typed it all? Doesn't look like it. Caduceus only includes private EMS services on standby. That's crazy. 3 levels. There's only 3 ones that are higher than that. Crazy. Salt shaker accidentally knocked over. Cap was loose. The cap was loose. Consuming too much salt will make you gag, according to Sarah. That's odd. Okay. Upright cup. A small amount of whiskey. That's for the witness. No traces of foreign elements. Water glass. with the DNA and fingerprints of the unknown witness to trace a poison. There's this. No foreign elements. Whiskey spill. To the left, but no foreign compounds, but inconclusive. Okay. Witness arrived at 7:30. Spoke with David Asher, and he got that in his basement at 7:36. Is there any other information of? Because when did the cup and the salt and everything in the kitchen that didn't really have any actual. So it had to have probably happened between 7:30 and. Okay. For 7:30 and 7. That would be what, 2 minutes? They would have noted it if the guest left though. And then it took what? 22 minutes for him to become disoriented. Okay. We have 33 tokens. 413,000 dead, and there wasn't anything evil about it. Just human error, some shoddy welding, and time. So you think that heartbreak is nothing by comparison? Perhaps that is the problem then. If they're nothing, if they represent nothing, then they can stand for whatever the crowd wants them to. Please make way. Officials are coming through. Please disperse. Keep walking, pigs. Fascists. Noble owns the cops. I mean, probably true, but yeah. Only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are we tolerating this shit? You want me to wade into the crowd with a nightstick? Prove them wrong. You know what I mean. The only people in this city trying to do some goddamn good, and they all just. That's part of our job, detective. No offense, ma'am, but wearing a police badge earns you a little more hate than. Do they give prosecutors badges? I have an ID for the parking garage. Does that count? Depends. You ever hesitate to wear it in the open? This moral relativism of yours seems like a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai. I really like these CGs. Morgan, you look like you may kill someone. Well, no, you've already killed someone. You may kill someone soon. Breaking out the thesaurus on me. I'm only being realistic and humble. I'm just one woman, Sarah. Whatever I do, right or wrong, it's less than a % rounding error in the grand scheme of things. Do you tell that to your clients? No, but they come to appreciate it when I win. I don't mean cops in particular. The same deal applies to anyone who works for the state. The terms are stark with ink dried a long time ago, and we all agreed to them. I don't recall voting for it. Well, not voting is how these things come to pass, so... They traded freedom for safety, individual rights for collective power. The state won, the citizens lost. The very least we can do is take their criticisms head on. Look, I don't have a problem with the responsibilities of authority. Only with authority being challenged. But they treat us like we're the bad guys. Well, sometimes we are. Sometimes the law is wrong. So, if any given individual is small enough it's too small to ever affect change. So if the public's gonna hate us no matter what we do. And if corporations and governments will trample over people the same, regardless of their character. And if we can't even be sure we're doing the right thing. What do you do, Adonai? What the hell do we do? I think it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as you'd think. In times like these, in a world like this, the only logical way to live is, the only moral way to act is, do whatever it takes to win. Beautiful. What a beautiful lead up. I need to read through this again because it does jump ever so much. Hello, welcome in, Dante Thorn. I'm I'm having a great time. I'm killing my voice a little bit by having to switch between, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 5-ish voices, but that's okay. Hello, how are you doing? If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I can do my worst and no one will notice. Morgan, your freak is showing.
If power is inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul.
Just fight with both barrels.
Then trust the opposition to do the same.
Hey, I'm doing good. It's a good day for this. I'm just chilling, enjoying the story, enjoying the music and the art. Hey. I hope your grocery run went well. Winner takes all. I should probably refill my water in a bit, but I'll be okay for now. This is like after the initial crime scene stuff, and yeah, we hit up David's whole the Ark's crime scene. So there's a lot to consider with this, I feel. But we're off to the hospital now, and I'm assuming if we can weasel our way into finding out who that witness was, that's probably helpful. But you know. Thank you, you're a lifesaver. And the next time that bridezilla texts you, just turn your phone off. Hello? Chatty guy must have been due to go on break. When he tried and failed to find the witness's medical record, his datapad had the name blacked out. But I did see that they have Caduceus Executive 3, more expensive than David's, which means they most likely... How did you do that? Well, you see, Sarah, I love to lie and also talk people into circles, apparently. You need to hold the button to get the doors to close faster. Mashing does nothing.
That's not what I meant. There were many others who arrived before us. How did you get us down here so quickly?
Well, I didn't do anything. It was the nurse who escorted us.
Yes, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with so few words, so little information. I don't think you even gave him your name.
Classic Morgan. Haven't you heard of the golden rule? Oh my god, she's so excited. We're teaching the robot about respect.
Of course I have. Treat others how you would want to be treated.
Wrong. Treat others how they would want to be treated. He wanted someone that he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him. And he wanted to feel appreciated, which meant that he'd be eager to help given the chance.
Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult. How can you know how another person wants to be treated?
There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone's thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover, it'll always be a gamble.
That is not a very comforting sentiment.
Social, you gotta figure out what how socialization works. It's okay, Sarah. You've been in a basement for the past 2 years and you only talk to a guy who builds robots, and I mean, he likes hosting. Assumedly he's seen Morgan in that time. But yeah. I don't think the comp sci student is the best. It's the best what is it? Baseline. I'm saying this as a computer science student. I'm saying this as a computer science student. I just don't think that it's the best baseline.
Well, I think it's fun. Only because you're good at it. How did you get so good at it?
Same as anything. Observation and practice.
You must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then.
You can't just ask a woman her age, Sarah. This is rude. we proceed down the hall, bear left, look for the fourth door.
I'm going to open the one that says morgue on it.
I love the tattoos on this lady. I just want to say, I saw her in the teaser bit, and I was like, oh my god, the centipede tattoos are fucking sick. Hey girl. Oh hey, come on in. Don't stand out there in the cold. Wouldn't be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here, but I run a little hot. And you can see my roommates never complain. I love whoever you are. I don't think that you should be well, I'm not sure that you should be wearing well, no, I'm going to assume that the metal claws are approved if they're in here. But I think that you should probably be in scrubs. What do I know, though? What do I know? Yumi Sato, medical examiner. Dr. Sato, just the lady I wanted to see. Though I didn't expect that I'd get to. The fact that they've assigned a medical examiner and not some ad or junior means, oh, you can just call me Yumi, and you're Morgan. I represent the deceased. The deceased? Oh, the deceased. Sure, D. Wait, really? That's so weird. I thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people who... I know. Weird, right? Trust. Well, what the hell do I know? I was getting tired of hosting Megs anyway. I kind of finished up typing up this report before we talk shop. But in the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home. I love whatever's going on with you. I think that... I do think that we're breaking several hospital rules by being dressed like this, but you know, joyous. Ooh, okay, so we got datapad, we got this console, we got this, we got just leaving. Okay, alrighty. Datapad first. I need to go grocery shopping soon, actually. I'm busy over the weekend, but I've been eating out a lot. I have the money for it, but also, you know, it's fine. What's this? The hospital's getting renamed? No, guess it's some other hospital that got snapped up. Hospital renamed to thank Ikaria family. A ribbon cutting ceremony held uptown today. Plotter Memorial Hospital was formally renamed the Northeastern Ikaria Medical Complex in recognition of the family's incredibly generous donations over the last several years. The whole thing? Not even just like a bench? I feel like that's what we usually do. It's just like a random bench. We're like, actually no, I can't say anything. They spent way too much on a stadium because of a donor. In many cases. Anyway. It's the latest in a string of philanthropic efforts made by the family to result in a name change after they paid for the renovations to the orchestra hall and the retrofitting of what used to be known as the Scout Arena. But it wasn't so long ago that the Ikaria were better known for drawing blood than donating it. Back before the 50s, they had a fearsome reputation for cutthroat business practices that had their business rivals going so far as to accuse them of involvement with organized crime. Ooh. After the founding of Renogen Medical over 25 years ago and a subsequent sale, the Ikaria have moved out of the business world and into the upper echelons of society that are sometimes mockingly referred to as the neobility. Nice. A generation of newly minted aristocrats born from the unique and chaotic economics of the mid-21st and the Red Decade. Okay. I'm so curious what that is, and I'm also curious what the Blakefort accident was. When asked her opinion on those who'd label her family House Ikaria at the hospital's renaming ceremony, Renogen board member Mireille Ikaria had this to say: "This country, anyone can make a name for themselves so long as they're willing to put in the work." Okay. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Quote. Mock new money all you want, but the truth is that success is all about reinventing yourself. The only ones uncomfortable with that are... Okay. Anyway, the Ikaria, I guess they weren't always in the same line of work. Now they're plastering their name wherever to get themselves a new image. Yep. All the neo-ability are eager to prop up their image wherever they can, but that must go double for the Ikarias. Assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. Hell yeah. Okay. Whatever this control panel thing is, that's a lot of screens. There's got to be diminishing returns on productivity. Actually, I think that I'd do better if I was essentially in a Five Nights at Freddy's monitor setup, personally. You put every single chat message on its own screen. Why do you have so many monitors, ma'am? You can't just ask someone that. Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory and budgeting, they ask me if I need anything, and I never do, so I submit a blank form. But I guess a while back there was a +1 in the spreadsheet somewhere, and no one's ever corrected it, and so, boom, I get 4 new monitors every year. What the fuck? Okay. Do you run out of things to use them for? Sometimes, but this year I've started running 2 dramas at once when I'm doing rote work, which helps. Beautiful. Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do rote work? Helps me use up the screens. I see. That's so beautiful. You could watch so many different K-dramas at the same time. Are these all dead bodies? One would hope so. I only meant that I'm surprised to see them stored here. It suggests a backlog, which suggests a higher murder rate than the public data would lead one to expect. Do you only examine bodies for the police, Doctor? Oh, I wish. Nah, most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance adjustments. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing, mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exercising enough, family says the company insurance plan would pay for mods but not a gym membership. Yeah, that whole wall there is suspected defective liver mods, suspected leaking internal bio batteries, suspected CCIC, climate change induced complications. You can prove that climate change contributed to an otherwise natural death? Very, very rarely. If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family of the deceased? Plus or minus 14% on the life insurance payout. I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job. It's just so much of what I do just boils down to telling a bunch of cheapskates how to split the dead man's bill. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's enough to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air. She finishing up over there? Right, okay, so what's up? Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be, what was the cause of death? Oh wow, hi there, cute android. I didn't even realize it was really cute. The skin is, that's remarkable. Even just looking close, you can tell they really are warm. Yay! We appreciate your... Morgan might not appreciate the cool features you have, Sarah, but I do. Still not quite human body temperature, but they've come a long way. The early gens all looked flush, felt like they were always running a fever, and they ran like it too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted. Sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case call for expediency. Nope. Right. So, what can I tell you? Okay. I'm so used to... I've been through so many of these choice screens that actually, like, affect which one we're doing, and I forgot that we can't just click through some of these. Were you able to determine the cause of death? Well, cause of death, sure. We got that much figured out, at least. Why doesn't that sound particularly reassuring? Because mystery drugs are never fun. Dr. Usher died of respiratory failure. Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system. What would the symptoms be? What would it have looked like? Lightheadedness followed by dizziness, then headaches, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally respiratory arrest. And that all happened in what, 8 minutes? Report shows that EMTs tried intubation and then resuscitation through electrical stimulation repeatedly. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation. But it was too late. And you're certain of all of this? Oh, well, most of it, sweetie. Most of it? Yeah, it's turned into quite the puzzle, and I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I was surprised a man as rich and famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes, but his files show he wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. But he was extensively monitored from the moment the EMTs arrived. We're very certain about our conclusion. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises? No injection sites, nothing in any cavities. Nothing at all, huh? Okay. Let's read the terms really quick. Biomonitor. Yep. Wearable tech, implanted mods that... Okay. So it'd be like a pacemaker stuff, and I know that there's also stuff like this for blood sugar. Joyous. New ability. Nouveau Rich. Yep. Okay. Accessories, reality TV, palm reading, social media, dress codes. Yep, I can tell about the dress code part, bud. Ebooks. I used to throw out old clothes. I was proud of my weekly meal prep. Beautiful. Okay. Nice. Articles. Ikaria. Yep. Got all that. We read through it already. We are about an hour in. Let me go ahead and save really quick, and I'm going to grab water. Give me 1 second. What is this? Okay, I shall be right back. Let me get water. Okay, I am here. Talk screen. The police mentioned a talk screen. Yeah, that's the thing. They ran a talk screen when he first arrived. Typical diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something, but the talk screen gave him nothing. After he died, we performed the broadest screenings possible. Nothing. So, were you forced to conclude that this was a natural death? I didn't give up that easy. I took blood samples and compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history, and I managed to isolate a single non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. I ran it through every available database we have access to, and even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. So, a designer drug, huh? That seems to be the best explanation. What the hell did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered? Those friends of yours, private sector folks? Yeah, in pharmaceuticals. If one of them patented a new compound, a new drug, what would keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual privacy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively. Patent first, find a use later. Yeah, a patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in, I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record. Smart.
using international IP law as your own personal minefield. How so? Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formulae so no one knows where it's safe to walk. Anyone small in ambitions comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your card, let them know you came up with the idea years ago. Then you give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. We don't work on anyone your size or bigger. They could punch back, but for the rest of the field. Wow, you corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with that strategy just now? So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance, something that the hospital could have easily identified if it wasn't considered a trade secret. Yes, unfortunately that is a possibility. Still, just because a drug is new doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect that this compound had remind you of any other drug? This is a good idea. Maybe one that's prescription only, or a controlled substance, one you might know by another name, but with a patented structure? Sorry, sweetheart, it's a general depressant. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they come in all shapes and sizes, from all kinds of places. The effect was unremarkable. What about its strength? Could you estimate how much of this stuff he had in his body, all told? Not precisely, no, not without detailed knowledge on its half-life, but I'd guess that it must have been about 20 milligrams. Is 20 milligrams a lot? Not for a medicine. So this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless then? No, not if 20 mil was enough to crash his entire nervous system. Allergies. No, I'm joking. It would be different if it was allergies. Thank you, Yumi. Of course. So, you ready to view the body? We could skip it if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. I wonder why. I'm wondering. Because if I had to guess, it could be something that reacts with salt once it's in, right? There are things that you weren't supposed to eat when you're on certain medications and stuff, so I imagine that could be something like that, and it's not just the poison that does it, right? Okay, then let's get started. Alright, I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Yes, please, thank you. The last time we talked was on a Sunday. You were complaining, I remember that. It's the principle of the matter. Right. You had ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake. Became damaged and you wanted to send it back for a refund. I gently reminded you how, with your salary, it was literally not worth your time. I kindly offered to throw it out for you, since you're having so much trouble letting go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. I denied it, even though you were right, and it was obvious. I should have let you have that one. I thought that he would look different. But he looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale, and he's very still. But his face is the same. His hair, his hands. You were expecting something more drastic? The last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled and he told me he would see me soon. Now he is dead. Something is gone. I can't find the difference. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to look harder. But I think I might just not be capable of it. And I wonder why. Why I was created to not be capable. Could be an issue of skill. Or maybe it's not something that can be seen, no matter how hard you look. But it's there, I guarantee it. I've seen the transition enough times to be sure that between life and death, the distinction has significance. To the dead, at the very least. You're going to smoke here, now? I'll pay the fine. That's not the issue. Were you expecting me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio. And some don't grieve at all, it seems. I'm a cold woman. Sorry to disappoint. The hell? Why the hell won't this thing light? Adonai, you have your cigarette backwards.
Oh my god. Morgan. Oh. Morgan is perfectly fine and she doesn't feel emotions and she's very logical and she just does shit, okay? Alright, that's back into cold storage for him, so need anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated? Sure, for what it's worth, let me guess. It's got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen with hexagonal structures. I don't know enough about chemistry to know anything about this. So it's organic, but there's a number of metallic elements too. And if you had to speculate on its intended use based on what we know of its structure? Well, it certainly acted like a depressant, binding to receptor pathways and affecting the balance of neurotransmitter reuptake. Depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene. True, people are always looking for a higher high or a crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Not much need to head up the gray market for that kind of experience. No, there's not. I see. Thanks again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Hey, anything you need, give me a ring. That's very Rockford's orders got me on call, so I'm already getting overtime for the whole weekend. Glad to hear it. Goodbye, Yumi. And goodbye to you, Greenie. My name is Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. It is very nice to meet you, Sarah. The one bad thing about not having a webcam or like VTuber thing, actually no, even if I had a VTuber it wouldn't fucking work, is that oftentimes I do low-key just reach out my hands to the screen like an insane person, so. Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under tram lines, the buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory. National headquarters for the likes of Howe Industries, Locktrun, Tethys, Nath? Okay. Each of them sheltering their own micro-city of employee accommodations beneath their skyscraper's shadows. Whale Fall. The entirety. I love Whale Falls. I fucking love Whale Falls. Whale Fall mention. Whale Fall mention. The entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Live off the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallowed generations of people by the mouthful. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is? Do I really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, a towering nerve center for the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I need answers about David and his work on Sarah. Answered I'd never get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis. Relationships. There are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there? Okay, Sarah, what is happening on your... What are you looking up right now? What form are you filling out? Noble will have their guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. Where they let me walk, who they let me talk to. History. Their efforts at performative transparency and clumsy obfuscation. Well, how did you know my father? What? I'm sorry, did I interrupt your brooding? No. What did you ask? My father. I know you were his friend. But what was your relationship like? Can't you just scroll through our socials? Father avoided social media. And your online presence is not significant. You're saying I don't have enough followers? Essentially. We went to the same college. You studied programming? No, I studied all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school, or anything else, really. David, though, he had a talent, and he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, discrete math, cybernetics. What classes did you share, then? Business ethics. That's crazy. I was the second best student in the class, and he... What's the first? He was the one who asked the most questions, not sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. Guess he felt burned. He'd come up to me after class to argue, and sometimes to ask for help. Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. What, like I was some kind of social butterfly, the belle of the ball? You weren't? One Sunday night, he knocked on my door all panicked, saying he was in bad shape for this tech course. There was a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied, though. Wanted to cram the rest of the night. Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? I'm no comment. Did I say something scandalous? He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yeah, well, even founder types can have poor time management when they're 21. He was already fried by that point. It wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for, so I went and stole a study aid for him. You stole a controlled substance just to help him with studying? No, that would be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast cause the taste is so strong. He gave him a placebo. He already knew the content as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. Didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just until it kicked in. And the test? B+, I think. I'm surprised that Father stayed close with you after that. You stole and lied to him. I stole and lied for him. And David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. But I guess that's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. Anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year of grad school, he published his paper, The Turing Solution, a framework for programming adaptive linguistic heuristics. One of his advisors came up with that title. David thought it was way too cocky, but it still hasn't failed any known Turing test in the years since. Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. He called me one weekend asking for advice on how to handle all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. What did you tell him? I don't remember telling him anything, actually. A lot of our conversations went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. And at the end of the conversation, he'd thank me, even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer and they took over his education, paid him to work on his master's during the day and attend corporate training at night. And whatever Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. You are referring to his one-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code. Simple and elegant, but anathema to a global corporation with supply chains designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. But obviously, they got over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Even as he was making money in hand over fist, he still kept in contact with a nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put a down payment on my apartment. I made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. So is that enough detail for you? Very thoroughly convinced that he and I were in fact friends. I am. But Adonai, the favor that you owe him, what was it for? That's private. Understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Morgan, I want to know. I want to know what this favor is. I guess that's how it goes. It's like I can't imagine that it would be something along the lines of blackmail. It feels too impersonal. I don't think that he would do that. Say you understand. I understand, Adonai. We will be arriving shortly. Shall I send a word ahead? Just tell them that David's lawyer is here. Yeah, I'm really curious about the, there's the favor, and then I imagine that with there's that cup and the salt. I feel like the salt being like that, it's not. What's the word? It's gotta be more than that. As it happens with most mystery games, but I'm trying to think. Right now I feel like there's probably something funky with going with the salts, and because I don't think that would be something that would show up. So that plus a drug, and if it does something weird, you know? Anyway. I've been here before. Ooh, fancy. Bisexual. Sat right here in this lobby waiting for David to come and treat me to lunch. At least I think it was this lobby. Could have been some other floor. Ooh. Big yawn. Could have been an entirely different building. All these... Hi! Hi, K9. Welcome back. Don't worry about the... Sleepy... No, I'm not that sleepy. I needed more oxygen. My throat is starting to hurt. Anyway, welcome to the main tower of Noble Electronics, the people who do all of the Android I don't think that's how yawning. Getting more oxygen in? No, it is. It is. I'm not even joking here. This is true. I will yawn just so I'm actually breathing. Also, it helps stretch my mouth a bit, you know. I got fact checked. Yeah, no, it's to get more oxygen, because more oxygen does make you feel a little bit less sleepy too. But I'm really not. I'm not sleepy. I'm just, ooh, my throat is starting to be mad. It's okay. Anyway, welcome to the main building of Noble Electronics. We have gone through the crime scene for Morgan's bestie, and I'm trying to think. We went to the morgue and we met the coolest lady ever. Is it truly? Yeah. At least that's what I've heard. If we were talking about the yawn thing. The stream delay makes it so hard to tell which thing you're saying yeah to, so I'm just gonna show you the cool lady we met with. Look at her. It's the coolest lady ever, who is also breaking she works in the morgue. She should not be wearing all that. Girl. Everything. She's like, you? Blood O. There's a lot of Blood O people, honestly. I feel like, yeah, O plus, assumedly, like, honestly, like, so many givers in this game. If I had to guess, right, so London is older than everybody, right? Masters. Yep, she's also older. Morgan is an outlier here because she does not have O. A minus. Huh. But yeah, there's a lot of type O people. A, be selfish. Be kind. But I wonder if, like, because isn't type O supposed to be like really rare, but it goes with, like, they can donate for anybody, like it can be used in whatever, for any like blood transfusion. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that in this future, probably trying to get more people who have type O just so it's more common to let, like, you know what I mean. So there isn't a shortage of blood donors. Only alcohol. Yep. There's one question mark. there's 20 milligrams of this unknown substance in his, what the heck is talk screen? Send attending physicians back to med school. Send apologies to attending physicians. These readings are a nightmare. Oh, poor thing. Beautiful. But yeah, so you must miss the coolest lady ever, but hopefully she shows up in color again at some point. Right now we're going to go, I think, talk to Noble Electronics about where Sarah came from. Something back to med school is so funny. How does it feel, K9? Folding in on themselves in patterns of narcissistic paranoia. So monumental in the scale of their hubris, they needed to use non-Euclidean geometries when drawing up the blueprints. The greatest minds of each generation coming together. Please, I don't want to go back. I'm sorry, K9. Go. Adonai, is something bothering you? I'm just doing the math on how long we'll be kept waiting here. Apparently, someone will be here shortly, so maybe if I pass the time by glaring around the place, it'll improve my mood. Well, too late, K9. We're mailing you there. So we got this thing, we got this thing, we got the advanced thing, we got watch the front desk. Let's watch the front desk first. Bro, this whole place is pretty. It's also kind of intimidating. So much energy, so many people, also intent. Reminds me of a specific hotel I went to. It also reminds me of a hotel, I think it's like in Chicago or something. You kidding? It's Saturday. The place is half empty. But doesn't everyone work on Saturdays? All the parents do, so they don't need to find childcare on Sunday. Everyone else flips a coin, I guess. All these people, for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. What could they all possibly be doing? 12 hours a day, 6 days a week? I'm scared. Frightening, frightening. Making work for themselves. You can be very cynical, can't you? Yeah, I'm terrible. But that guy over there's just been jiggling his cursor for the last 20 seconds. Me. Just like me for real. To think that this is only one room. This complex is so massive that it doesn't even feel man-made. It's like it was carved out of the rock by waves, like it's always been here. That's the con. If this place was actually natural, there'd be birds everywhere. I hadn't considered that. Why aren't there birds in here? Probably because of what they do to the ones that get in. I'm kidding. Though I don't have a better explanation. Yeah, in a place this big, you're bound to have like at least one bird who's gotten in, or two birds, and then it's just like, well, bird infestation. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. They changed the logo again. Noble Electronics. How does it feel stepping in here? Is this some kind of religious experience for you? Crazy? It's just the corporation where my father worked. It's a Noble. Careful now, or they'll burn you for heresy against the company. You said it again. The company, as if it is a proper noun. You're mimicking the employees, aren't you? So it can't obey simple orders, but it can't pick up on that? Is it just part of the corporate culture? Noble's one of the biggest corporations there is. One of the biggest there's ever been. We mere humans can't hope to escape the gravity of anything that size, no matter where you live or how far off the grid you think you are. So imagine what it's like working for them. You live in company dorms, work in company quarters. Wherever you go, that logo's above your head. You eat, sleep, and breathe on Noble's timetable, at its discretion. The future is scary. I don't want this. Thank you. Someone sounds bitter. I mean, who would it be? Look, it's they outlawed like giving like company credits as like payment because of the fact that like in mining towns, at least here in the US, they outlawed that because of the fact that like it meant that, oh, you're just cycling people's like money in like This little circle where they cannot pay for anything outside the company, essentially. Which is, you know, interesting. And they still have the companies pay for insurance in 2086. So, crazy. Anyway, when you spend your whole life inside of it, Noble must feel big enough to be the only company there is. Whoever comes to greet us better have a pulse and some goddamn authority. My mood's starting to sour, and if they just send me the first link in their infinite chain of corporate bureaucracy, I'll make them wish. Morgan? That's me. Hey there. What voice does this guy have? He looks infinitely sad. I don't know how to sound infinitely sad. Hey there. Android Manufacturing, Quality Control, Eastern Division. Evan Dawes. Evan Dawes, he says. Like it's an afterthought. Nerd emoji? I kind of have already hit Reyes with the nerd emoji. I can't keep doing this to my voice. I can't double it up. What's the name compared to your place in the hierarchy? You seem familiar. Have you? I'm David's lawyer. Oh, then we must have. Apologies. Let me first just say how sorry I am about his passing. You and everyone else at the company must be going through a lot right now. As if it's a proper noun. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. You're welcome, but it's no big deal. Everyone's on the razor today, but what else is new? And compared to PR or legal right now, our workloads and quality assurance are... Never mind. How can I assist you? Shortly before his passing, Dr. Usher began the process of registering this android. Yes, that is good. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the job. Look at that. It's definitely custom. Gee, you think? Good thing I sought out an expert. Or, it goes without saying, reminds me of the A16 Premiere, if anything. The barcode is clearly printed, no visible defects, but you're right, it doesn't correspond to anything we've got in file. Well, they sent you the right man for the job, now we just need to go to the right place. Not far, I hope. It's in the building. The thumbs up! Are you good considering your, band is- No, that's cyber parts. Yeah, that's Android parts. In the building, that could mean anything from down the hall to half a day's hike. The production line on B9 should have everything we need. You do manufacturing inside your corporate headquarters? B9's a fully functional production floor, but it was only built for demonstrative purposes. New clients make the deals upstairs about how many and in what shape or size. Then they come down to the basement to see how the sausage is made. I have enough money to build a fake factory just for guests. Smart! So as long as you're only giving tours and not giving away company secrets. No need to worry about that. We take intellectual security very seriously around here. No kidding. There are 11 cameras on us at the moment that I can see. And who knows how many pairs of modded eyes are aimed our way. Clearly nothing happens here without the almighty company knowing about it. I love the surveillance corporation state. So if they try to claim ignorance about anything, that's gonna piss me off. Lead the way. I love you, Morgan. How long- wait, hold on. How long did it take? So, 308. When did we get in here? How far back does this go? Can we go far back enough for it? Fuck. No, just barely not enough. Noble Electronics, Northeastern HQ. Yippee! Basement floor 9. It really is furnished down here. I don't want to take up too much of your time. It really, they did like a full floor. That's frightening. But it's pretty rare to get to see all this in person, you know? Would you mind terribly if I looked around for a moment? No problem. I've got some prelim paperwork I need to handle anyway, so have at it. I like how... Yeah, that makes... Wait, what, huh? What, huh? What, huh? Huh? What? Me glancing over because where the fuck is the sounds? Hello? What was... What? Huh? Huh? Me squinting at this. Why was there a fucking sub-goal thing? No, the game's fine. I just look over and it was like, your new sub-goal of 10 was just completed. Nothing's updated. What the okay. Hand on shoulder? What's going on? Let me just, see, K9, you've, hand on my own shoulder, yes. I need to point out that your badge is updated in the middle of talking to me, and I'm trying to figure out if, is there, hold on. Where is my sounds? And what, who? What? Where? It hasn't updated at all. So like now I'm confused. Now I'm confused. Hello? If I, you know, I think my overlay is just fucked forever. So I'm just gonna move on. Someone subscribed and I have no fucking clue who it was. Kane and on shoulder. I'm so fucking confused. Keep going, don't worry about it. Why was it silent? What have you done? Hello? No, I'm putting this on pause. Hello? I like breaking things, I guess. Do I have a filter? No, I don't have anything on my filter. Hi. Did you subscribe to me, bud? And did it not play? You are the only one here. And I saw the badge update in real time, even though nothing else happened. You don't know? I don't fucking know. God damn it. What in the world? The great news is that I cannot tell. I can't tell. I think maybe my Twitch might just be fucked, if I'm being so for real. If I go and stare, right? If I go and stare at something, surely I'll figure out what the fuck. I can't no, I'm so for real. It did not say anything. I didn't get any notification. It hasn't updated latest subscriber either. All it did was update your badge. All it did was update your badge, but also it says 2 months, and I don't remember you subscribing. I feel like I'm being gaslit by Twitch. What do you mean this is beautiful? You know what? I'm just gonna thank you for subscribing. Thanks. Heart emoji. I've never been more confused by a subscription in my fucking life, because where is literally anything? Why is that the only thing? Beautiful. Finger guns. I'll figure out why Twitch is cursed and why it ate the entire thing, and Jess told me that there was a goal completed. Anyway, I'll need more than cursory knowledge if I want to figure out where Sarah came from and why David wanted me to adopt her. That's his daughter. I don't know what to tell you. Take custody. I'm gonna look around. You stay put in the meantime.
Adonai.
I didn't want to lose you amongst the rest of the merchandise. Okay, so we got this giant factory floor. We got something. We got that thing. We got this thing. This looks like a 3D printer here. Wait. Oh. Wait. Oh! Datapad! Yippee! What have we got on this datapad? Some kind of write-up? Oh my god! We're at 40 tokens! On the subject of Sullivan's Peak, much of our world today, and in fact much of our world's economy, is heavily influenced by the Uncanny Valley. The thought experiment provides a simple and easily applied explanation for the gaps we see in the otherwise wide spectrum of automated dependence that assists us in nearly every industry on the planet. There's a very simple primal truth to it. We like things that resemble the living, like cartoons and puppets and toys, and we like toys. My toys. Sorry. And we like things that are damn near indistinguishable from the living, like whatever name Noble's latest products are being sold under. But there are deep, deep trenches between those two ends where products are universally appalling to human sensibility. Hell yeah! The Uncanny Valley will no doubt remain a useful tool for teaching, marketing, and design for generations to come, but already we are seeing ways in which it fails. It is becoming increasingly clear to us that the space between nearly indistinguishable and truly indistinguishable is much wider than we ever suspected, and it may not be the only part of the map that we must fear. I propose we bridge these gaps in knowledge by looking to the speculative fiction of Robert J. Sullivan, who in his most well-known work, Equal Under One Sky, described a concept which thereafter has been called Sullivan's Peak. Through the lens of his characters and their so very divided world, Sullivan demonstrated that the Uncanny Valley does, in fact, have its own peak on the other side, a point past which making an artificial existence any more human in its features serves only to make the user experience more uncomfortable, more difficult, and more fraught with moral pitfalls. Once you reach Sullivan's Peak, traveling any further only has diminishing returns. The implications of this idea are far-reaching. We will very soon reach a point at which the designers of ads can only make their creations less lifelike or less likable. A hard stopping point for technological progress. What then, we must ask? Okay. I mean, I think that's true. I think that if you have something that's completely indistinguishable from a human being, at that point, you should probably just have, you know, a human being. For us to have reading material like that around here, were they passing it around as a gag, or are they actually afraid of Sullivan's Peak around here? Noble must be, I think, wary, right? Yeah. If pink does exist, they'll be coming up on it fast now that androids are warm. Noble's entire product line, maybe their entire industry, could go bottoms up if people start to think it's cruel. If Sarah's any indication of where their androids are heading, I could see some people getting uncomfortable. Yeah, because Sarah does just behave like an actual person. Let's go back in there. So it's like, at which point do you hit, like, oh, well, like there's looking human and there's actually being human. I feel like it's hitting that point. Let's do all the stuff in here first and then let's stare out the window. Feels like I've seen this before. That's right. There was one in David's lab. Yep, 3D printer. That's the nanograde elementary manufacturer. Nanofacturer for short. Real high quality piece of machinery. Each of them built in-house by Randolph Mechanics. What does it do? Nano level flash fab. The fuck does that mean? I know what flashing. Oh wait, no, we'll come back here. Where did it go? What? Oh, there it is. Okay. Manufacturing artificial microscopic compounds to simple structures, nanomachines. Concerns about the ecological impact have been raised, but you know, there's always nothing that small can possibly leave that big of an ecological footprint. Help me. Okay. Whatever you say, man. Hello, Dawes. Oh, hey, it's finally a not O blood type person. I feel like everybody I've seen has said that. PLL. Struggles with solving captchas. Oh, buddy. Hair's turning gray. Yep, okay. Notification's dead. Struggles with captcha. I mean, look at his, hold on. Look at his hands. I guess, like, because he has, assumedly Android parts. Well, it says that his hair is also starting to turn gray, which might be just stress. Anyway. Basically a 3D printer for nanomachines. You build nanomachines in your factories for use in your androids. He may be that old. Yeah, he might be. The raw materials are cheap, literally elementary, so no sense in getting them shipped in. It's mostly the medical models that make use of them. Inject a couple thousand nanites into a patient's blood screen, run diagnostics, and provide a solution. I don't like... Okay. Gang, let's start injecting microplastics. let's all inject microplastics together. A 3D printer for nanomachines. So what kind of ink does it use? Silicon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, building blocks. Fuck, it doesn't say actually what it has in there. Autopsy? Fuck, okay. Because then it could be synthesized using the 3D printer. They feed into the nano printer and it assembles the machines particle by particle. Like a ribosome building structurally complex proteins out of chemically simple amino acids. Must be time consuming, you would think. But Randolph cracked the code on parallel microfactoring. The inside's crystalline, sprawling like an ant's nest. Raw materials enter at one of the thousands. Yeah, I did it. That went over my head. I don't know. I don't really know anything about, what is it? Yeah, like chemistry. So. Different entry points, combining and recombining at intersections. It's cell anatomy, I see. The finished product ends up at the center and drips out in a liquid solution. Distilled nectar swimming with millions of nanites in just 2 minutes. Nectar? Is it sticky? It can be, depending on the desired output, but the door vacuum seals while it's cooking, so don't worry. It's completely spill proof. Thanks, DOS. I love this thumbs up sprite you've got. It's beautiful. What a relief. Not exactly a box of paper clips David could just have brought home from the office one day. Okay. So the fact that he had access to this says a lot. He must have bought his own for some reason. He probably was using it for Sarah's stuff, but okay. This seems to share some components with that coffin Sarah was napping in. If DOS does quality assurance, is it some kind of Android calibration device? It's probably what he'll use to register Sarah. Looks a little... Is Sarah tall enough for it to recognize her? Be kind? She's literally a child. Be kind to her. There's something out there that caught my eye when we came in. A very familiar shade of crimson. If I squint through the glass out on the floor, there are temperature-controlled fluid tanks. Through glass and plastic flows an eye-catching scarlet that transitions into... So you add the blood towards the end. You mean the oxidant? Yeah, relatively late in the process. Something out of place. So... He really did just have the entire setup right there. Androids have blood, even if it's not officially labeled as such, but it isn't red. It's pink. Sometimes milky, sometimes neon, occasionally garish, but pink. I just didn't think the oxidant would be red. Oh, right. Sorry. I barely noticed it at this point. The color is natural, comes from the biomanufacturing process. That chromofuge out there removes the byproducts, the waste, the excess pigment. Changing it from blood red to psychopop pink. I like that. That reminds me, the psychopop pink thing reminds me of what is it called? What is it? Oh gosh. Don't Stop Girly Pop. The like Barbie pink shooter. I kind of wanted to look at that. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Chromafuge manufacturing. Okay. Without that chromafuge, our android's flesh would come out looking all the wrong colors. That may be true. It probably isn't, but it may be. But I have a simpler explanation. Blood is primal. The sight of it carries weight. They change the color of their product's blood so that when an android gets a bottle broken against its face, no one bats an eye. Yeah. Wait, what? Which thing? Oh, I didn't see this. An inhaler left out on the desk, probably a half-dozen empty ones in one of the drawers. Boss, the inhalers, they're distributed by the company, correct? Oh, yeah. HR handles it. They personalize your dosage and prescription and update it based on the performance and job fulfillment reviews. Other corporations do it the same way? Yeah, pretty much. Everyone's trying to keep pace with each other, so can't have your employees losing focus on the job. Could cost you who knows how much in lost efficiency. Sorry if this is insensitive, but given what happened to David, are overdoses common in the company? Yeah. Yeah, he says. Overdoses, that is, not hospitalizations or death. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's all pretty organized these days. These days? Man, back when I started in consulting, pretty much everyone had an embarrassing story from their first 2 years where they popped a few too many greens and missed the on-ramp. Popped greens? Yeah, used to be pills. That's crazy. That is so okay, so he has been here for like a while then. If he started in consulting a while ago. Green to get you going, yellow to keep you there. Swallow a red after brushing your teeth and get into your bunk fast. But yeah, the inhalers are a huge improvement, like going from torches to the light bulb. They sink straight to your personal biomes and adjust dosage in real time. Overdoses are way down. That's great to hear. No, the fuck it ain't. That's crazy. The trainees under me don't realize how good they've got it. Kids probably won't even have to learn how to perk. What? Excuse me? Why? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? I was like in eating disorders? Yes. As in like throwing up. As in like with eating disorders. Buddy? Buddy? That's... Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? What's being built out there? Our top of the line. Brand new bestsellers. The Animate 16. Warm. Looks kind of cold out there. We keep the factory floor refrigerated. Slows the organics already tuned metabolic activity to a minimum. That explains why the room doesn't smell like rotting flesh. The flesh out there is only somewhat rotting. Yay! Thank goodness. Slowly. I just meant I'm surprised to see metal. Oh, well, the A16s all have alloy endoskeletons. The organics are layered on later in the process. Oh my god. What a... Ugh. Sounds like what Sarah told me about herself. Maybe she really was the A16's prototype. But it's hard to imagine bridging the gap between her and these scattered doll parts. I get that you can grow just about anything from lax Gemini. But how do you get the synthetic and the organic to work together? Yeah, that... Oh, fuck. No! My sentence. That was our first concern when R&D began work on the warm concept. You're getting attached, Morgan. I can see it's... Yeah, no. Morgan... Morgan's whole thing is like, I don't get attached. I don't feel that much. And then proceeding to be like, why do I feel this much? You missed it, but first off, when they went and like examined David's body, she was like, "Oh no, I'm really cold. I'm a cold woman, Sarah. But like that's why I'm not grieving." Proceeded to put her cigarette, tried to smoke her cigarette backwards. So she, you know, hand on shoulder for Morgan. Yeah, girl. Yeah, you feel nothing. That's a bothered person right there. That's bothered for Morgan, yep. And also, there was like, there's like conspiracy theories going around about Heartbreak being a worm android, which obviously, you know, but like Sarah was asking a lot about it, and Morgan was like, well, you know, if I do like my worst, then like it's a drop in the ocean compared to like giant corporate accidents, essentially. Like if you kill 6 people versus like like hundreds of thousands of people in a corporate accident, you know, that's her old thing. Oh, it's statistical. Ha ha ha. Yeah, girl. Okay. And oh, there was also a thing about like essentially nature versus nurture, where Morgan's just like, oh, well, the Heartbreak Killer is probably just like that, you know, just born like that, and then nobody has to worry about turning into that person. And Sarah's on the other side like, well, that's really sad because that means that they don't get a choice. Yeah, Morgan, how are we feeling? Anyway, I love this lady. Beautiful. Anyway, the 1.0 is her real skin with synthetic muscles, and it was a horror show. Metal pulling on skin was just right. For 2.0, they worked backwards: organic muscles, organic skin, but digital signals on organic hardware. Shout out to Sarah. Hell yeah. Shout out to Sarah. Was a dead end. Didn't the muscles flex when you passed an electric current through them? They'd flex and unflex, sure, but that's not nearly precise enough for facial expressions. Looked like puppets strung up on live wires. We used the test footage to haze interns, actually. Yeah, no, I can imagine that looks kind of horrifying. Yeah, electrical signals to... If you put it through... I know that if you put it through, like, corpses and stuff, they do still move. But yeah. You must have figured something out. The A-16 wouldn't look out of place on the runway. Thank you. We try. We ended up reaching out to mod companies. Well, we actually just bought out a half dozen of them, but... Right. They figured out how to get human nervous systems moving mechanical limbs decades ago. So we just needed to get a mechanical nervous system to move living limbs. Dawes, you're so funny. I like his thumbs up. Yeah, no, it's an excellent pose. It's so beautiful. Very clumsy attempt to avoid using the word human. High precision mods are slotted straight into the nervous system. They receive their input from neurotransmitters, not bioelectricity. So you had to do the opposite? Exactly. We created a synthetic neurotransmitter that our androids could use to communicate with organic flesh. Where did that breakthrough come from? Dr. Ashur? Partly. He led the team that built the motor neurons in this analogy. They carry commands from the central nervous OS to individual muscles across the chassis. But the the synthetic analog serotonin, that was actually an old brainchild from the VP of Android Futures, Helen Jung. The good thing about having my throat be a little sore means that it's really easy to sound like I have a sore throat, because this man looks like he has a sore throat, aka I'm just using my actual sore throat. Jung, hasn't David mentioned a Dr. Jung before? Sounds impressive. She's one hell of a biochemist. Or she was, I guess. Not much for individual lab work when you get to her kind of pay grade. So Jung collaborated with David on the technology that enabled Warm Android. May your voice rest up soon. Yeah, I'll going to see if I can get to the end of this section and we'll end off here. Yee. Or wherever, when we get out of Noble Electronics, so I don't know how long that'll be, because I do have to go get ready for other things. As I thought, whatever went into Sarah that makes the android so distinct, he couldn't have taken sole credit for it. Jung, did he partner with her on this? All done. You ready to get the ad handled? Thanks for humoring me. Can you have it step into the scanner? As he says. Understood. Right then, what are we looking at here? Whoa. There's a lot to unpack here. We theorized that it may have been Assure's pincushion. A pincushion, huh? That would explain some of what I'm reading here. She's right here! Be kind! Be nicer to her. She can hear you, and she has so many emotions. What language is that on the screen? Tess. You know, Tesseract, all Noble products, and, well, pretty much all products, period, are programmed in Tess. Easy to read and write. Stay compliant. Now this model, what's it go by? Sarah. This Sarah model. It's got everything the 16th line has, that's for sure. Organic skin, hybrid muscles, advanced facial processing and emoting. But there's a lot crammed in here that's still in development. Like, in the idea phases. Solar cell hair strands, decentralized redundant power, mental and physical overclocking with extended tolerances. I see. Data storage is so large that I can't. No, wow, he had to measure it using. She's so proud of herself. Hell of a poker face. She's so proud of herself. Wait, decryption and signal hijacking. That's hacking? Essentially. Does that mean it could hack its own tenants? Oh no, that's unthinkable. Literally, for an ad. For an ad to break its tenants would be like you stepping into traffic or dropping a baby. Okay, so you can't imagine doing that though, right? Even if you're physically capable of it, it's not something you would ever choose to do. Okay, so like, some people do in fact do it. Some people do walk into traffic. Thank you, Morgan. Some people choose to kill people. Morgan? Psychotics, addicts, the mentally ill. Does that mean there are androids? Well, no, there aren't crazy androids, so yeah. I guess my analogy doesn't hold up. That's okay. So it can't hack itself, but it was given the ability to hack other systems. The industry line is that such a capability could be an option in certain emergency scenarios, breaking through the firewalls and encryption of surrounding electronics to broadcast directly to police or military channels. Speaking of military, this musculoskeletal setup is drastic. I've never seen this on a consumer model. Can you lift a car or something, Sarah? Most cars. It would depend on the center of gravity. Lady, this Sarah could wrestle a public disturbance walker and come out on top. Sarah, I'm so proud of you. Those stomping behemoths they bring out for riot suppression? This is beautiful. And in terms of computational ability, the estimate says that can't be right. Look at DAWs. I was actually hoping you could tell me something about the software or the metadata. Who worked on it and when? Right. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. The editing logs have been purged. That doesn't sound very above the board. Sorry, I can't tell you anything about who worked on Sarah or when. Any chance you can restore those logs? Not here, not with this machine. I need the computers that were actually used for programming this model. Any ideas where those would be? Sarah? I cannot answer that question with any accuracy. Had a feeling you might say that. That's right. Sorry, I can tell you that the code is unique. There's hints of the A16 in there, a few of the same conclusions as Chest. Dr. Assure or whoever took very different paths to get there. So Sarah has even less in common with every other android on the inside. Sorry, didn't expect to hit a dead end here.
Not at all. You've been very helpful. Can we still get the registration done?
Yeah, no problem. We've got the software and forms all set up here. Occasionally we let a new business partner bring one home fresh from the oven, you know?
Oven?
Gross. Alright, a few basic questions then. I can't believe that they baked Sarah. Also, let me go see what this term is. This is Tesseract, programming language built on top of the Tenet system. At the start of the century, there was a much greater variety in the number of programs. This is true. There's a lot. Standardization, gradual erasure of many spoken tongues contributed to the loss of countless programming languages. Yep, this is true. There's a lot of If I had to hold on, sorry, computer science thing. Like, hold on. This is mostly for. Considering the fact that most androids are built off of whatever Ashura is doing, I'd assume that this could potentially be like it's built on top of the Tenet system or whatever. I'm wondering, let me see. What is the Tenet system? Programming framework underlying the development of modern automated dependent software built on Tenet system. So there's inviolable priorities for code to pursue. Once added to a program, a tenet cannot be circumvented under any traditional circumstances, and even then, only if a tenet with a higher weight supersedes it. Tenets were first adopted in the... Well, you see, okay. The funny thing about this is that there are currently, like, tenet things, right? Essentially in, like, current AI. Like pathways that they aren't supposed to traverse down. The thing is that there's still access them somehow, and I don't know enough about machine learning to tell you why it does that. But this is why you get AI like blackmailing people, or like, you know, how it's kind of like how you can tell an LLM, oh, I need to know this information because somebody's in danger, and then that immediately, like in this kind of thing, like it overrides something else, essentially. Are well known for increasing the decision time lag of programs. This, combined with their engineered inflexibility, have made it such that most programmers aim for a tenet limit below 30. But anyway, about like programming languages themselves, a lot of places, well, not a ton of places, but like there's specific programming languages either made I'm trying to remember what is which one. The point is that like there's a lot of specialized programming languages for like military or like not company use, but like I know that some people just like do it, but it's a whole study, because the most secure way for some things, right? Like for commercial use, there's like stuff like Python and C++ and all that, and that works just fine. But like for security purposes, having your own programming language can actually be really, really good. That's all. I'm wondering if this is something that is just for Noble, or if it is something that is for like more publicly available like C++ or Python. But yeah, programming languages are made to fill specific niches. There are like things that are like general use and stuff, but then people will build on top of that. There we go. That would be like interpreted languages. And then there's actual like compiled languages like C++ that require like it gets translated down into actual machine code. But interpreted languages go on top of other ones that already exist, basically. Anyway, Tenet Safety 0 could not produce outcomes that would result in harm to a living person. Yep. This is no longer required, but Tenet 0 may still be added. Okay. Yeah, it's been removed in general, but like, yeah, you know. Anyway, few basic questions then. Who's going to be the official owner of this unit? She is. As it says, unless the will disagrees, it's my responsibility. Right then. You fine with the designation, Sarah? We can set it to anything you'd like. Well, actually... Never mind, Sarah will do fine. Do not rename her! Do not rename her! This is not like you're bringing home like a dog from the shelter where they do not give a fuck about the name. Okay, this part's all standard. Civilian model. Address, contact info I can get from your chromes. She has an identity! Exactly! Be kind! Do you want to reset to factory defaults? Could clear up a lot of quirks. Don't do this! Not right now. Thank you. The last thing then is the grading. I'm reading 23 tenants here, nothing too far out of the ordinary. 23? That's higher than I expected, talking with it. She seemed more malleable than that. Don't blame yourself. Guessing tenant count from outward appearances has become a crapshoot. Not like it used to be. It used to be they only had 3 tenants total, and every unit has to have them. Then came the first accidents, and the first lawsuits, then the hearings, and the legislature. Exactly, that's so much work. Do not factory reset, Sarah. And the demand for more tenants. A tenant making sure ads couldn't endanger the state. Tenant standing that ads wouldn't divulge private information without prior consent. You know, that's how things are supposed to go right now, but once again with what's going on right now with AI, this is such a beautiful thing to be experiencing right now in this thing, cuz like this is a current issue where like people. The thing is, like, even if it's like, oh, it's not going to divulge private information without prior consent, you can create essentially a Venn diagram of things, excluding something that you are trying to find out, and then just find out information from that anyway. How the fuck do you protect against that? You don't really? Anyway, what you don't know is just as important as what you do. That's the point. And it is an issue with current AI stuff, like returning information, yeah, like that. Anyway, there was a campaign calling for a tenant to weigh child and adult lives equally during risk assessment. Crazy. There was a campaign calling for a tenant to do the opposite. Companies wanted their asses covered, customers wanted guarantees. This is all very interesting. Approaching from that perspective, because this is directly thinking about current issues with machine learning and AI stuff. Anyway, continuing on. There was never much incentive to deny a requested tenant, so the list just ballooned until the military entered the market in full force. You sound like you don't approve. I wouldn't go that far. Not in front of the company. They needed their ads to be able to pull the trigger when ordered to, without clearing 5,000 lines of bloated, hard-coded decision points to get there. I get that. But since the armies are the only one using tech with bare minimum tenets, all the best, least cluttered, most elegant code is only used for war games. Yeah, that sounds about right. You remove every single safety protocol and every single check, and you're left with something much more clean and easy to look at. It's not very romantic. Well, not like I was on the jury. Department of Advanced Defense Projects versus Zenith Dynamics. The Supreme Court sided with the military's request and set a new precedent that every other army around the world would race to meet. Changing tenets from a mandated list at the root of every ad source code to a choose-your-own checklist. It's funny. Ads with the most tenants. They're so locked up you can't even have a conversation with them. Yep, that sounds about right. And outside the armed forces, the only ads with single-digit tenant counts are just vacuuming floors. Yep, because you don't need that many safety precautions if it's a fucking Roomba. So, you know. The most impressive ones, like what you've got here, fall somewhere in the middle. sorry, went on a tangent there. Only thing left is the evaluation. Be kind to the Roomba? Look, I'm being kind to the Roomba. I love the Roomba because it doesn't require 2 billion things and won't potentially leak your information, except for the fact that everything is, all the information here is going back to the state. But you know, yeah, I don't know. I have issues with the Internet of Things and various smart devices. But you know, the Roomba gets to live regardless. Because the main thing is that it maps out. A Roomba has to map out, like, essentially the floor plan of your house and where it can and cannot go. Because you don't want it falling downstairs or anything. Anyway, continuing on. What gets evaluated? Total financial worth for insurance purposes. Oh, it's gonna be $1 billion. Yeah, the insurance companies made sure we had very accurate algorithms for this. No room for human error, they insisted, with no sense of irony. $2 billion. Wow. I mean, I knew it was custom, but what price could they have possibly? That's a lot of digits. You should know, these formulae are pretty conservative with their estimates. Holy shit! My $1 billion child! Stingy, even. Sarah's really David's last and greatest work. Yeah, because, well, that's his daughter. Oh, made a hissing noise because, yeah, I don't really like the amount of smart furniture out there either. Yeah, I don't need a smart fridge. I need a normal fridge, thank you. I need a stupid fridge. Just let it cool things. We all go back to putting everything outside in the snow. Anyway. They say some things are priceless, but when you force an insurance algorithm to pick a number, try not to get any scratches on it, I guess. I think that Sarah probably will not be getting very many scratches. It's fine. You spoke differently back there. Hmm? Oh, that's a sick fucking elevator. What thaws? You spoke like he did, it seemed. Like I copied his accent. Fuck! You should have told me this beforehand. I would have also made you sound like a tired employee. Man. Anyway. You seem to mirror his effect, his tone. I didn't do that. It's called being friendly. What's your point? It was just an observation. You can choose to keep those to yourself, you know. No tenant required. Why were you so concerned about registering me in the first place, Adonai? For the same reason I wouldn't drive around in a car without a license plate. This is true. That does make sense. Any cop, or even just a well-placed camera, could have spotted your barcode and seen that it wasn't set up with any actual data. And then they would have arrested me, and then they would have thrown me in the slammer. I don't think, Sarah, I don't think that yours is the problem. I think that the fact that it's with Morgan is, yeah. No, they would have arrested me and put you in an evidence locker. Yeah. I love the sprites so much. They're so beautiful. An android can't get arrested? People get arrested. Property gets seized. And then smashed. Great. You put us over the weight limit. I did no such. Morgan. What the fuck? Excuse me? Hey now, our elevator has been hijacked. Could you have sent an email, maybe? Could you have sent an email and not just hijacked the elevator? Thank you. Morgan Counselor, your presence has been requested on the upper floors. Who's asking? Vice President of Android Futures, Helen Jung. That's rude of Morgan to say such a thing. Don't even worry about it. Shouldn't have assumed I still had the opening move. Tell her I'll be right up. I'll redirect your elevator now. This is the biochemist lady. So here's the thing, right? Considering that David has mentioned knowing her, right? What are the chances that this whatever designer junk was designed by her? Anyway, taking control of your elevator is very convenient, forceful, as if Noble is trying to directly steer your investigation. If Noble wanted to shut me down, they wouldn't bother to be subtle.
I suppose they could simply refuse to cooperate. Or just let the elevator drop.
This is true. I thought that we were supposed to fucking die. We're meeting the actual mom? Might be. This is Sarah's other, like, mom, I guess. You know how it is. Okay. 3:50. Okay, we're down there for like almost an hour. Well, no, more like 45 minutes. How fucked are we? Oh my god, she's got the cunty corporate bob. Hello? Right. Speaking first is a sign of weakness, is it? And here I thought I could avoid wading into the swamp of corporate pretend power dynamics. We're going to just let her stew. I don't gaff. Girl, you invited me up here, not the other way around. You hijacked my elevator to bring me up here. Silence is only awkward if you care. I can ignore social cues all day long. Exactly. Let me save here in case she kills me. Ooh, pretty. I like the pillars in this room. Nice. I always like this time of day. Not too much muggy for you? No, I never liked a clear blue sky. It always seemed cold to me. Girl, you have sky blue hair. Yeah? Anyway. Or look, the sky gets more colorful every year. As the air quality drops. Childish, isn't it? I will say that the lipstick you've got going on is very cool. Bless. Her hairstyle reminds me of something and I can't remember. They're opposites? Oh yeah, they kind of are. Huh. Marveling at the small sheen of rainbow dancing on the surface of a massive oil spill. Oh my goodness. My throat. Apologies for waxing poetic. It's been a very unusual 24 hours around here. Dr. Jung. Just Miss is fine. Miss Jung, I get the feeling you didn't bring me up here to talk about the weather. No, I brought you up here to express my condolences. I'm very sorry for your loss. There ain't no way. Thank you, though I could say the same. I know you and David worked together for many years. The hair reminds— yes, it is Yelan. Yelan, for sure. Thank you. Wait, hold up. Is that like a— that is like a gap there, like with the skin, right? Anyway. That's the wrong one. I was gonna go to profiles. Hey girl. Oh hey, you're AB too. There's a lot— am I crazy? There's so many AB. VP of Android Futures. Red Meat. Flower Gardens. High Thread Grounds. Okay. Okay, so she's got like this scarf here that goes around and then this goes somewhere? So many selfish people here. What's up with AB? I know that O is universally usable. What is AB? Fluent in 3. Attending baseball games and hidden talent of getting children to stop crying. Okay. Shopping online. Oh, I get this. Girl, real. AB only gives to AB. I see. Okay, she's burnt. I can't. Huh. Oh yeah. Zero value. Okay. Alright, let's continue. Yes, we did. But as much as I'd like to just drop everything and process, the company wheels don't stop spinning for anything. Or anyone. Was Dawes of any help? She sent him? Trying to be helpful or just trying to control the narrative? Actually, we don't need to— I know that one of them only gives to one other, but I just don't know if it's AB, and I don't know enough about blood types to know what. I don't know anything about blood types, besides the fact that O is universal. And that there was this one guy who had like especially cool blood or something along those lines. He was great. But that must mean you know why I'm here. I don't want to make assumptions. No need, I'll be explicit. You're right? Okay, awesome. AB only gives to AB. Well, the good news is that our cast has a lot of different people to talk to. Wait, does plus or minus matter with that, or is it just the main one?
I'm here as an officer of the court, which means I'm bound by law to document every rock I turn over and every person I speak to. Yes, the lawyers made that all very clear. Yes, it matters? Okay. So, would AB Plus only be able to donate to AB Plus then? Oh yes. You have an Android. It's not one of ours. You can tell that quickly. It got all the faces memorized. It's easy enough to remember the major archetypes we use, yes. If you're nuts about your work, maybe. Yeah, girl, isn't there like a billion models? It's a recent acquisition. Very recent, in fact. One of David's last requests, apparently. David asked you to take it? I've been told that you've been to David's estate already. Police gave me full access to the scene. Then you know that he wasn't alone last night. Yes, there was a single witness who met with him and called emergency services when he fainted. I was that witness. Word. You know what? Glad we're just coming out with it. Really? Obviously. There aren't that many people David would bother meeting with in person, let alone welcoming them into his home and offering them a drink. I also knew that Jung is his superior on paper, though not in fame, and I knew that the witness had Executive Plan 3 insurance, so I knew they had to be higher up than David. Yeah, that makes sense. Well then, do your lawyers know we're having this conversation? Of course. They're pulling their hair out about it as we speak. I can't imagine why the police cleared you. And you were well within your rights to ask for some privacy, given the high-profile nature of all that's happened. So why call me up here? Why cut through all the red tape your lawyers painstakingly hid you behind? Eventually you, or some clever lawyer like you, would get the record opened, through legal means or otherwise. The company's enemies are legion, and they have a prying knife for every occasion. Still, that would have taken time. Time you could use to get ahead of what could be the biggest PR hurdle Noble's ever seen. At least she is honest. Yeah, I respect that. I respect that from her. Touché. And so perhaps the truth of the matter is that I simply didn't want to hide. David was my colleague for several years. If I were in your shoes, I would have questions as well. You're doing this for my sake? No, my reasons are purely selfish. I'm only hoping that talking to someone whose job isn't to defend me from all consequences might prove therapeutic. If he wants to play confessional, that's fine by me. Is that really all that's going on here? Why don't you start from the beginning then? You went to his home last night? Yes, at around 7:30 p.m. The building's penumbra captured all of that quite clearly. He fell ill around 8 p.m., so you spent half an hour together. Why the late call in person? We had an intense discussion yesterday afternoon. David never came in on Saturdays, and I didn't want to spend the weekend glaring at him through screens, so I visited, and he let me in, and we talked about the good old days, if you can believe that. Back when we were both new to the company, eager to make a name for ourselves. How long ago was that? 7 or 8 years ago? Wait, so these jumps have been only in like 8 years? Ooh, what the fuck? I was thinking like, oh. So if David was a grad student, so he had to have been like 30 something, right? Like early mid 30s. That's frightening. Oh dear. If it's right out of college, then what, he must have just like turned 30, 31. So, Miss Jung, putting a number on it doesn't sound that long ago, but it feels... We spent a while like that, just talking. He was lively and sharp, and I never would have thought that a few minutes later that he would be dead. That he would commit suicide in front of me. You know what? I was joking earlier that the option that the police are floating is kind of hilarious, because it does really just mean that
David just was like, anyway, I'm just gonna kill myself in front of you, changing the course of your life forever. I'm gonna get more water really quick. We can sit on this. Okay, here we go. I am back. And anyway, so he decided to kill himself in front of you, changing the course of your life forever. A firm reply. What happened? 8:15, he said he wanted to toast. He got up, walked back into his workshop, and then he must have went down into his basement to get us a bottle. I checked some messages in the meantime, enjoyed the view. In other words, she stayed on camera. He came back with a bottle of whiskey and 2 cups. We drank and talked. He got quieter, spoke less. I thought he was just getting drunk. Lightweight. I didn't get worried until he started to fall asleep. You tried to wake him? He wasn't responding. I tried to shake him awake, but he didn't seem. I left him and ran to the kitchen to use the security system. The question is here, right? If he was standing when he fell over, and then he was kind of laying pretty neat, apparently, when the EMTs arrived. So, what exactly happened in this time? Didn't think to use your phone? No, I suppose I didn't. But it worked out. The Penumbra's emergency protocol summoned a VTOL straight to his helipad with 1 button press. When I returned to the parlor, he was limp. I moved him to the floor, as delicately as I could. Okay. So he was sitting up and then she moved him to the floor. He had a heartbeat, but I just did what I could until they arrived. You went with them to the hospital, I take it? Yeah, it sounds like first aid. Yep. Yes, they insisted. They checked my vitals and ran a tox screen, which came back clean. So did David's for all the good it did him. I wasn't paying close attention to what they were saying at that point, but I'm sure they read through every step of the CCE SOP. That's what they're paid to do. You seem certain that it was suicide. Yes. Why? As I said, he got quieter as the time passed, and he spoke less. But the last thing he said to me, the less clear thing he said, was that he was happy ending it here. Said he was content. Ain't no fucking way! And he downed his glass after that. He drank every last drop. Does it sound like David Usher to you? Curious, restless, perfectionist David? No, I guess it doesn't. Okay. We have so much fucking stuff to go through. Okay. So she was the one who made him so neat on the floor, at least. But then that doesn't explain the... Okay. Hold on. What is Helen Jones? Okay, so it now has this. No trace of any poison, right? But there's the glass of water. Okay, the way Sarah's eyes are glowing on this... Oh, this reminds me of, the side order masks from Splatoon, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So... They had red solo cups for the other ones, but then they also had the other cup that Jung put in the sink. Deers on the road be like? Yeah. Okay. Where was the depressant drug? There's a salt. So the thing was loose and the cup has her stuff on it. So here's what I'm wondering, right? If it would make you gag, right? I'm not sure that Jung I'm not sure that Jung was going to kill him, right? But I do think that maybe, right? If we've got... Nope, that's the wrong cup. If we've got this water glass and the salt, right? Did she make herself... And also, we were talking about purging before. And that was 7 to 8 years ago. I don't think that Dawes was... Was it that the bottle of whiskey was poisoned and she poisoned it and then purged her stomach using the salt? Thoughts? Because I don't... The purging thing doesn't really make sense to be foreshadowed otherwise, right? Anyway. CCE stands for Counter Corporate Espionage, which is just industry doublespeak for corporate espionage. I can see this, yeah. Especially because, here's the thing, it's a mystery drug, and she's a biochemist. Now, how did it get into both of the cups? The thing here is that she had her cup of whiskey. I can see this, but she's fine. I think the question is like if either it was salt for purging. Also explains why she said she went to the kitchen. Yeah. I'm wondering if it could have been done earlier and if it was actually from the whiskey or not, because the thing is they do still have the... where is it? There's a talk screen and its testimony, whiskey spill. Yeah. No foreign compounds were found in that one. There wasn't anything in there. Where's her upright cup? Saliva and fingerprints will match an unknown crazy that this hasn't been updated, so I'm just gonna note that. But this contains no traces of foreign elements. That's the thing that's throwing me off on that theory. Anyway, yeah. Only used in self-defense, you understand. So Noble anticipates employees at your level getting poisoned. They give us all kinds of CCE training. Subtly, of course, usually disguised on the itinerary as leadership workshops or psychiatric evaluations. They train you to expect to get murdered at these leadership workshops. Murder is fairly rare at our level. More likely they want us too sick to work. Let us drain company resources in a hospital bed while our position sits vacant. That's smart. Like snipers purposefully avoiding vital areas to strain the enemy's medical resources. Yep, makes sense. That's terrible. Like snipers purposefully avoiding vital areas in order to strain the enemy's medical resources. Thank you, Sarah. That's nothing compared to when they want us to turn an asset, feel ill for the rest of your life with an undiagnosable malady, or become our mole and we'll send you the antidote every 2 weeks. Huh? Hello? That's a nasty piece of work. What? It's a nasty line of work, consultant. What? Okay, so CCE, turn an asset. I see. Crazy. I'm sorry? That's just what they call it. Can't exactly put corporate spy on your CV. So every consultant I met at a cocktail party was actually... It depends. Did they say that they're consultants? Or did they say they were in consulting? How the hell am I supposed to remember? So do your people think that what happened to David was a deliberate attack? Noble's competitors have been trying to get to David for years, and that's the timescale their plans operate on. If this was an attack from a rival corporation, the company would have seen it coming, and they'd probably have struck first. Okay, the cups. I've been curious about this ever since I saw the scene. Why the plastic cups? There's a story there. Please tell me that you guys weren't reminiscing about playing beer pong. David and I got hired around the same time, under similar circumstances. Actually, you know what? That would be better. Does beer pong still exist in 2086? Headhunted while finishing our higher education. During recruiting, the company claimed to want us badly, but in practice our actual authority was
Inexperienced and overpaid. You must have been extremely unpopular. You don't mince words. We didn't either back then. We were loudly trying to convince our superiors that their entire sales model for androids was antiquated and self-defeating. The two of them made the one-point doctrine? That's not the story I've heard in Noble commercials and Noble sponsored media. And come to think of it, it's not a story I ever heard from David himself. We had this deadline, self-imposed, but still a deadline. We wanted to get our pitch to the president of international sales by end of the day. 7 p.m. rolls around and people start filtering out. David still has his head buried in diagrams and sales figures. Imagine a technical man like him, a programmer, trying to make a sales pitch. The clock hits 9 and even the zombies start heading home. I turn to David, tell him that it's not gonna happen. We're nowhere near finished and the day's been long since been over. He looked at me like I'm the only other person on a sinking boat and I've just stopped pitching water. And he says, the president lives on the other side of the globe. We've still got all night until his end of the day. We wrapped up at 4 in the morning. Just us and the cleaning staff. Back then, only half of them were ADDs. He finally sends the message and I'm ready to collapse. I've got nothing. We stared blankly at his inbox for the next 40 minutes, hoping that the harsh light would give us the energy to work through the next day. And we got a response. It wasn't long, but it showed he was interested. I had been turned down so many times before then, ignored and placated, passed up and ghosted, but together, David and I, we had finally gotten a win. So David asks if I've got anything to drink. I've got a bottle of some swill in a cabinet at my desk. He doesn't want to drink from the bottle, says he wants to toast. So we sat there at 5:19 in the morning, toasting awful vodka to one another in cups we grabbed from the break room. Toasting our first victory against the corporate beast. I like that they used the solo cup PNGs. This is so beautiful. I still think that we should have kept the solo cup PNGs at the ball event for ours. Anyway, not related to Of the Devil. They look so cute here. How lovely. Between the lack of sleep and the drinking, the next day at work was hell. Sounds like a good memory. Plastic cups and liquor. That was our little ritual. Okay. Nice. CCE, counter corporate espionage. They both got them. Stream delay, you're killing me. I'm sorry. You're getting got. So I didn't think twice when he presented me with my cup. It was ceremony for us. Okay. History with Noble. As VP of Android Futures, you're David's superior, aren't you? That's correct. Didn't you join the company at around the same time? David was always more interested in his work than he was in climbing the ladder. He didn't like playing the corporate politics game. So was he unpopular around here? Not unpopular, no, not the great Dr. David Assure. Misunderstood, perhaps. How so? He could be blunt. Demanding, some might say. He wasn't trying to be, it's just not everyone could work at the same pace as he did, for as long as he did. Oh my god. He was locked in all the time, I guess. Even with the whole company huffing those inhalers, they couldn't keep pace with David. Speaking of which, I don't see Aunt at Jung's desk. Oh, okay, so she's also insane. Maybe it's just not something you leave out in the open at her level. So, you would say that his work-life balance was? He's just that good? Balance implies the two are at odds with one another. We use work-life harmony here at the company. Fascinating! So was he in harmony? That's instantly pissed off. I love that for her. No. David always had plenty of suitors, but he was never willing to put the time in. But I'm sure you're more knowledgeable than I am on that subject. Right. What do you mean? I had to help him draft a lot of apology notes over the years for misunderstandings and double bookings. Oh my god. David, you have got to write people back. You've got to write people back. Okay. So scandalous. Okay. Animate 16. The A16 only entered production this year, correct? Correct. Pre-orders started last holiday and we began shipping in the first quarter. I understand that you were instrumental in the success of Warm Androids. I played my part supervising the launch, yes. Weren't you the one that designed Cyanotonin, the factor that enabled communication between synthetic and organic parts? She looks very caught off guard, God bless. I'm surprised you've heard of that. I did lead that project, yes, but that was years ago. At the time, Cyanotonin was little more than a novelty, a dead end. It wasn't until David took the reins on the A16 that we found a use. This was like several times that Cyanotonin has been mentioned. I'm wondering if what would happen if they put it into a human? Anyway, took the reins. He was a lead programmer on limb coordination, facial expression, exhaustion parameters, and he designed the synthetic nerves that made all of that possible. He's comp sci, not med. Huh? Scary. David did all of that? That's a lot more than just programming. Was he always so gifted in that many fields? No, don't do this to me. Stop being an overachiever. You're making all of the comp sci people look bad. Did he feel those roles on the A14 or A15? No. He used to stick steadfast to his role as a software architect. That was his field of expertise, and he didn't wander far. I'm so fascinated. I can't tell if she's just like lying about this, because like, while I think that he could probably have done that, all of his like stuff mentioned by what he was interested by Morgan, it was all things that more lean towards computers and not med stuff, which you can like learn enough about things like that to get by, assumedly, especially if you have advisors, but also I don't think that it's like, you know. Anyway, but 2 or 3 years back, he started sitting in on other departments, taking notes, okay. Soon he was joining the discussion, proposing new ideas, and eventually they came to follow his lead. The fuck? Just like that? Just like that. So he just applied himself, and soon he was leading other departments. That's the kind of genius that Dr. David Usher was. Hello? This sounds like a nightmare. What do you mean he's running like several departments? I'm scared. Maybe they weren't paying him enough. The company profited the most, of course, but the entire industry benefited from his vision and leadership. His loss will be fed for years. Okay, finally, what's up with his robot daughter? So this android, Sarah, even Dawes couldn't find any real details on where it came from. It's not in any of our systems? I'm afraid not. Did David ever talk to you or anyone else at the company about a pet project? Pet? That's his daughter! Don't say that about her! No, he never gave me any indication like that. And if he didn't talk to me about it, I seriously doubt he confided in anyone else at the company. David didn't trust anyone higher on the chain than himself, and anyone below him. Frankly, they couldn't possibly hope to give him advice. He never mentioned me? No, never. No! I'm sorry, Sarah! Androids don't come cheap. You ever heard about him requisitioning parts or resources? There were never any discrepancies with his company credit card. The company's accountants are mirthless, even by industry standards. They wouldn't humor anybody, not even David Usher. If they had ever detected financial discrepancies, there would have been an uproar loud enough you could hear in the mailroom. You have a mailroom? I like that this is where what you're excited about, Sarah. Not since the 30s, just a figure of speech. Fuck. No! She was so excited. Be kind to her. He couldn't have taken resources from the company without leaving a record. But no one would deny Dr. David Usher information. He would have been able to obtain all the necessary data to build his own android. Then, with enough time and money, he could privately purchase the raw materials himself. I don't understand it. It must have taken him years to build Sarah. He wasn't doing anything illegal. Except the hacking stuff. So why keep it secret?
Spent years creating Robot Daughter because Robot Daughter, I mean, he spent so long doing all that and then he has no mods or anything like connecting him as much, but I don't know. But he was private and a perfectionist. Perhaps he simply wasn't proud of his results. What? Huh? But shaking you, don't say that to her. Don't say that to her. No, no. Could be. No! Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Be nice! Be nice to Sarah. I'm so sorry, Sarah. You've been awake. You've lived for like 2 years. And now your dad's dead. And there's a lady who low-key two-faced. And people keep calling you an it. I'm so sorry, Sarah. This is probably this is like the first time she's interacting with other people outside of David Ashur. So, a difficult day for all of us. A message from Fran. I'm running out of leads to chase. The brat better have good news. Oh, it's your other child. The other child that you didn't really want, but you have. Are you really going to take this to court? That's my plan. The circumstances may be irregular, but I'm still defending a client from a criminal charge. It's my responsibility to argue that he's not guilty of what he's been accused of. Sarah, these people stink. Yeah, no, if I was Sarah, I'd be like, man, I want to go back to being asleep. And is that what you believe? That he didn't commit suicide? I guess I haven't decided what I believe. Okay. We've hit the point in which I need to in transit. We're going somewhere. Anyway, let me save here, not read any of that, and we are going to go ahead and I did save it, right? Yeah, okay. Voice is tired, but I love how this was going. 3 hours of visual novel speaking, so I think that's probably enough. It's probably good. But yeah, we are going to stop there. I'm wondering, because it doesn't actually tell me how far away I am from, like how many hours I've done here, and I don't know how many I did in episode 0. Actually, no, hold on. If I check my Steam playtime, yes, I will be resting soon. It'll be all good. How long have I done that? It says 6.5 hours right now, but I bet that if I close the thing, it will actually, do that. But let me go ahead and wrap up and get food and get ready to go to celebrations for other things. Let me see. Alrighty. Now let's see, what is the playtime? 9.6 hours. So we are about, because I think it was either 3 to 4 hours for episode 0, because I know that was a long stream. So we're about 6 hours in and we haven't hit trialing things. But yeah, okay. I shall wrap up here. I don't think I'll be streaming on Sunday. No, I definitely won't be streaming on Sunday. But we'll see if I can do like a makeup stream at some point. Otherwise, I will be here next week, not at the same time, but at my usual Friday time, which is 7 p.m. CST, to continue this. Unless something else comes up, in which case, we'll see. But that's my current plan. Alrighty.